Hello, everybody. I'm Mikey.
And I'm Corey.
Every week we discuss and review a new book, movie, album, TV show, or honestly any piece of art or culture that ourselves and you guys choose. This is Mind Control. So there was these people who were being kidnapped and mind controlled.
Exactly, dude. And I can totally see how that happened. Because, like, imagine if you were just given acid or just drugs like that that are so disorienting for hours and hours on end and never being able to come down and not feeling safe and having somebody tell you things and accuse you of things, you know? Yeah.
Mind control. That's how we do it, baby. GG's. Mind control. On this week's episode of Mind Control, we're going to be discussing Jim Carrey and Dana Vachon's new book, Memoirs Misinformation.
And on next week's episode of Mind Control, we're going to be discussing the 2009 Gaspar Noé film, Enter the Void.
James Eugene Carrey, born January 17th, 1962, is a Canadian-American actor, comedian, writer, producer, author, and artist. Known for his energetic slapstick performances, Carrey first gained recognition in 1990 after landing a recurring role in the American sketch comedy television series In Living Color. His first leading roles in motion pictures came with Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber, all being released the same year in 1994. Although largely typecast as a comedic actor, Carrey has had success in dramatic roles. Carrey gained attention for his leading roles in The Truman Show and Man on the Moon. In 2013, Carrey published his first book, a children's story, entitled How Roland Rolls. In 2020, Carrey published his first novel, Memoirs Misinformation, which he co-authored with Dana Vachon. There is little information online about Dana Vachon. He co-authored Memoirs Misinformation with Jim Carrey, as well as wrote the novel Mergers and Acquisitions. This is the brand new novel, Memoirs Misinformation. Hi, everyone. Welcome back.
What's up, everybody?
This is Mind Control with your boy Mikey and Corey. Yeah. It's been a while. It's been like 2 weeks since we released an episode. So thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for not forgetting about us. I obviously, for those who pay attention or care, I moved, and that was a big reason as to why, we took 2 weeks off. It was supposed to just be a week, but then shit just got kind of wild, and I didn't have time to read this entire book. I listened to it at first, but then I bought it and I wanted to read it like a real reader, and it took a little longer than I thought, and it was harder because I was so busy, but yeah, it was interesting. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I just noticed your background, it's all different.
It is.
Yeah, nice. I like it.
It's a little more grown, a little more mature, I'm trying to keep it like a little, a little less colorful and shit, but I'm excited. I'm happy about it. So.
No, good. I'm glad. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, it is definitely
my heart sings.
New vibes. New vibes for sure.
Yeah.
So the book that we are going to be discussing today, everybody, is called Memoirs Misinformation by Jim Carrey. Am I mirrored right now? I feel like I'm mirrored. I don't think it's reading.
What do you mean?
Like on my display, it shows like it's backwards.
I don't know.
See, I'm mirrored for some reason, and you're not on my screen. That's weird. But either way, yeah, we got the book.
There we
both
go.
of us.
Yeah.
I don't remember even how. Oh, because I was looking for audiobooks, like new audiobooks.
Yeah.
On Audible, and then I just saw this one pop up on it, and I just downloaded it and listened to it all within like a day and a half, and fell in love with it. I instantly hit you up, all giddy and excited about it, and because I
remember.
It's one. Okay, so like I haven't really gotten into a fiction book. Like I don't think. Since I was a kid.
All the books you normally tell me you read are like nonfiction. You know? Yeah. It's never stories.
Exactly. Except for when I was younger. Like I read a lot. That's all I used to read is nonfiction. It's like I read like this one called Cirque du Freak, which is like freak show or circus of freaks and friends, by Darren
Paul's
Shaw.
reading those right now. Yeah, Paul's reading those.
Dude, I was addicted to those back in the day. I used to love those.
Adam had like the whole collection, so he gave it to Paul, and then Paul's reading them now.
Adam actually gave me a copy of the first book that was signed by Darren Shaw, the author. Yeah. And I had
that's
it
dope.
Yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah, that's cool.
So so I used to get into fiction books a lot, but that's kind of one of the reasons I was like so extra giddy. I feel like as far as like how much I enjoyed it. On top of it just being amazing and a trip, and we'll get into that. But just getting into a fictional book, which is not necessarily fiction, but like a weird type of fiction too, was really exciting, really fun. You already know how I feel. Let me tell the podcast real quick. I loved it. I still love it. I really dove really deep into it, because I listened to it and then I reread it. And when I reread it, I reread paragraphs over and over, just trying to understand what the fuck he was even talking about, what the words even meant. And it's definitely a hard read, and it's a weird one. It's hard to follow. But I kind of like that. What it felt like to me was kind of like I mentioned in the text to you, like it feels like a string of consciousness telling a story. It feels like almost like a very, very intense psychedelic trip. Like those type of trips that you feel like you live an entire other life. You know what I'm saying? And then it's all over. But it's really just a matter of 5 seconds. All this crazy shit happens in 5 seconds. That's what this book felt like to me, because it doesn't make sense. It feels like a dream. And the way it starts off with Jim Carrey in his room and just like paranoid and with the red Netflix glow and this futuristic Armageddon apocalyptic setting basically the entire time. It just felt so dark and like a fantasy, like a fictional book, but then the fact that it was like underlined or like it was driven by this attempt by the actual story of Jim Carrey, and that by grounding it in the story of Jim Carrey and grounding it in what felt like what we're living in now, by bringing up Trump and bringing up augmented reality and social media and fame and things like that. It felt like it was grounded in the now, which made the fiction aspect of it feel less like you were encapsulated by it. Like it wasn't like you were in this crazy fictional world. It was almost like you were playing with fictional ideas in a sense. The sense of how famous actors were characters and they did all this wild shit. It made the fantasy part of it fun in a sense to me, and kind of like not maybe not as, like I said, not as encompassing or like, I don't know what's immersive, but more of like a fun, playful thing. I really like that about the book. And yeah, so hold on, let me get my dog out. We'll pause right there. And let me get her out of the. I can hear her whining. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we'll just pick up right where I left off.
Yeah.
Lay down. Yeah, so that's what I thought. I have a feeling that you felt probably not as enthralled or good of the book, but so I'm interested to hear what you think. What did you think?
So it was interesting because when you told me about it, like I just kind of I got it, and then I didn't really look anything into it besides what you had told me, which you didn't tell me much because I feel like we don't tell each other a lot, until this. Yeah. So, dude, the first half of it, I fucking loved, instantly, I loved it, because like you said, it's very dreamlike. It's very, I'm pretty sure that's on purpose, It's very things are just happening, and it's almost hard to keep the order and which things are happening. But the book is interesting because the first half I feel is completely realistic. And I can buy every single part of it. I could believe Sean Penn's like that. I could believe Gwyneth Paltrow. I could believe they all meet and do these, these ceremonies where they talk about these suppressed memories. I can and then even when he gets into the Charlie Kaufman movies doing where he's gonna become Mao, that Chinese leader, dude, it's all believable. But then the second half, that's why once the first time I read it, once Rodney Dangerfield came in and he was a hippo and it was this fake world. I was like, what the fuck? And then at the end with the aliens, I was like, what the fuck? So, almost the first time I read it, it was almost too much. The first half was amazing, then the second half was just so out of nowhere that I was like, oh shit. But then when I read it a second time, I was like, oh, well, they're kind of talking about this the whole time. But I feel like the first time you read it, it does sound like they're just talking. But then you read it oh, maybe this is actually, there is actually this story that's going on in these aliens. Because the first time I read about Tan Calvin and when the producer shoots himself in the head. I was like, okay, this is fake. Like, they're just using a metaphor. But then later I was like, oh, okay, wait, so this is actually like fiction to the fullest. Like, they're talking about real aliens, you know?
I actually noted that because I didn't notice that until the second time I read it either. That it was like mind control type of shit or whatever. Like right? Wasn't it?
Like, well, it was like Tan Calvin was actually, the first time I read it, I thought Tan Calvin was a regular like studio exec, and they were just giving him this supernatural, like, when they described him, they made him sound like an alien, you know? But then when I read it the second time, I was like, oh, he actually is an alien. But I at the same time, I feel like the book's like written like that on purpose, like, because it's actually like a metaphor too for like, you know, I don't know, like the studio execs, how like they don't like it, so now they're canceling it, and like, I don't know, all this shit.
So when Mitchell Silver kills himself, you remember that?
Yeah.
That was Tan Calvin telling him to do it. Yeah, okay.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, and the first time I thought it was just like, you know, kind of like, you know, some books tell, you know, what some people describe things in crazy ways, you know? But then the second time I was like, oh, like, it actually is supposed to be an alien named Tan Calvin, you know? But dude, it's an interesting book. I did like it. And after reading it the second time, like after going back, I told you I watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and then I watched Truman Show. And I don't know, they made me like the book more just because, like, I guess, like, I've never been into Jim Carrey, but I was never a big fan of, like, Ace Ventura or Dumb and Dumber. Like, I just wasn't a huge fan of them, you know? And I hadn't seen some of his serious movies. So, like, going back and then, I don't know, just, like, the way they talk about his acting style, even in the book, and, like, how they talk about Nicolas Cage's, too. Like, I never saw it that way, but now, like, I look at their acting completely different. I'm like, oh, man, they are really good actors. They're just doing really different shit that nobody does. And, you know, like, I don't know, dude, like, watching the Truman Show, I think, was the most, because, like, I saw so many similarities between the Truman Show and this, even because, like, the whole time, and, like, how he's, like, playing this,
Sorry.
like, no, like, how, like, he's literally playing a character, like, Jim Carrey is, like, that's why it was confusing in the beginning. The first time you read it, you're like, oh, well, I know Jim Carrey is an actor. That is the person. But then you see it as, like, he's writing it as, like, even for him, Jim Carrey is just a character, you know? That's not him. That's just his character. And then, honestly, it made me start thinking about all this shit, about how, like, the way we present ourselves to the world. And I read something where, or actually, they might have brought it up in the book. Or maybe it's, like, in the summary or something in the beginning. It might be. But he talks about how, like, a lot of it's about, like, how we have this addiction to relevance. And I was like, dude, like, I feel like that's, like, the biggest idea in that book, because it's so true, especially with social media. Like, everybody's addicted to be relevant. Oh, you like that song? It's like, it's not enough just to like it. You got to show everybody you like it, you know? Like, you got to be important all the time. Like, and it reminded me of the Truman Show. It's like, he was always the center, and it's like, that's how we live now. Like, people even do it in, like, I feel like people know that now, and they still, like, it's hard. Like, in the book, dude, at the end, when the aliens are attacking and the paparazzi are still taking pictures of the celebrities because they still want the number one picture. They still want to be the most relevant photographer. And it's like, even when the world's ending, we're still considered with what other people think of us. And, you know, it's like, because, like, it's almost like our whole image. I mean, it is like our whole image of ourselves are based on our interactions with others. And it was really interesting the way Jim Carrey, like, told it, you know? And then going back and watching interviews with him, I was like, man, he talks like this a lot before this book came out. So it's kind of cool. Like, it made me like the book more. I was like, it's because at first I was like, oh, it's just so weird. But then I started watching interviews and I was like, oh, like, he really does have, like, a lot to say. And, like, it makes this book make a lot more sense. Like, this is just, like, a big metaphor for that, you know, for this character he's playing and how ridiculous it all is. Like, our struggle to be famous or want to be relevant or want this and that, when really that's not the point of any of this, you know? Like, it's fucking crazy, dude. It was a really good book, though. I do like it, you know? I liked it a lot, actually.
It talks about, I really like that aspect of it, too. It's just the ego dissolving, or the idea that we are more than just this fucking animal creature floating through space, you know, that we're somebody important, that, you know, that in a sense, it's kind of a selfish way to live. In a sense, like, that's kind of what I got from this, is that the idea of the self is almost a selfish thought, because we're so insignificant. and meaningless.
Exactly.
Like no matter how big your legacy is, you know what I'm saying? It's all just nothing.
And it's like,
and it's everything at the same time.
Yeah, dude. It's exactly like it's such bullshit. Like, just our struggle to be so relevant. You know, like, dude, I swear, like, I don't know. I go in between it all the time. Like, sometimes I want to post shit on my Instagram story, and then, you know, sometimes I do, and then sometimes I think, or like sometimes I'll erase it immediately. Like, I'm like, why do I need to show people that I like this? Like, fuck that. Like, why does it even matter? Like, I like this. Like, you know, like, I don't know, dude. I just think a lot lot about it.
Yeah, I deleted my Facebook a couple weeks ago.
Nice. Welcome to the club, bro.
Facebook just got a little too like, okay, I don't need to ever see these people for the most part. Like all the people that there's no reason I need to be in contact with this person from high school and know so much about them. Like, it's weird to me. I don't want people like that knowing
exactly,
me,
dude. Like, it's so weird that we all want to just like, yeah, it's like dude, the Truman Show just fucking blew my mind just because I had not seen it. So like in the last 2 days, I've watched it twice, and like, dude, it's fucking like, it's so true. It's like, why would you, like, because that's the most extreme version of it. But dude, like, I feel like that movie is almost even more relevant today now with all the social media. Because like watching it today, I was like, fuck, dude, that's, even though this is like the most extreme case, like some people like the Instagram, like what the influencers and shit, like their lives may not be to this level, but it is like, oh, I'm gonna film this, I'm gonna film that, I'm gonna film every aspect ever, and it's like, I mean, I guess it's cool and it has its pluses, like if you're doing it for the right reasons, but I feel like most people aren't doing it to document their lives. Like, you know, a lot of people are doing it, look at me, like, you know.
How far-fetched would it be at this point in time to say that in 5 to 10 years, there's a baby born, and we just start following that baby around with cameras and watching grow up? How far-fetched? That wouldn't even be. That's not even that far-fetched right now.
Think about Prince George, dude, the baby of the royal family. Dude, Frankie loves that fucking baby. She's always showing me pictures of the baby. Dude, her and her sister always sending pictures and videos of the baby, and that's what it reminds me of. I was like, dude, people love him though. I feel like you go on Twitter, like when they post a new picture, people go crazy over it. And I'm like, dude, this is so Truman-esque. Like, we're watching this kid grow up. It's like, why don't you just go live your life? You know?
The only difference is there is that he'll know about it growing up. But we're not that far away from what. If I would not even like. I would not be that surprised in the next.
And it was interesting how they said he was the first child to be adopted by a corporation. I was like, damn, like how long? I've never thought about that idea, but how far are we away from that idea before corporations start doing that? Like, have you seen Sorry to Bother You?
No.
Okay, it's honestly pretty out there and ridiculous, but the ideas of it are pretty crazy. It's like it's this movie about this caller. It's like a telemarketer, and like you make calls, and then this black guy who works there is doing a white voice because that's the only way he'll make money, because if people hear his voice, they just hang up, you know. So it's already interesting on that level, but then the whole time in the movie there's this corporation that gives people life contracts, but it's supposed to be amazing. Like, you'll never need a job again, you'll never be fired, you can work here forever, and it's like advertises this great thing, like, oh, but it's almost like, when you think about it, like, yeah, they're paying you, but that's slavery. Like, you're never allowed to lead the contract, you know? But it's supposed to be like a form of job security, because there's so little jobs that this one company, and it almost reminds me of Amazon, is just doing so well that they can give everybody jobs forever, you know? And I was like, dude, like, I don't know.
That is Amazon.
This book got me, yeah, dude. This book got me to thinking, it's just like, dude, I feel like there's just so many connections to things that are going on, and like, I like how you said it, like, I like how they bring up like Trump without bringing him up, and then even the fires, dude, they're talking about the fires in LA. I was like, dude, that's literally what's happening like a week ago,
right? Literally right in the middle of talking about Trump, there's this little part where a paragraph that I feel like they added this shit like a week before it was published. They added this little paragraph about UFOs being reported, like, and that was literally like, I feel like after they released the book, maybe, or like a week before.
You're right, and he brought up how nobody cares because everything's just so in your face all the time. It just becomes another piece of the cycle, you know.
That's so cool to me that there's just so much fact and actual what we're going through right now thrown into this crazy world of those crazy fucking fighter chicks at the end, and this world of UFOs.
Dude, that part was weird.
And then Kanye and Kim. And all this other shit, dude. Let's get into it. Let's start from the beginning real quick.
All right.
I just, throughout the book, what I did is I just wrote like little lines, just kind of like major points, so we can kind of just go from the beginning to the end.
I did the same. I wrote like quotes, and then I also wrote like for each chapter I wrote like a fucking like 2-3 sentence little synopsis just so I could remember what the chapter was about, you know.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, let's go. Go ahead. Let's start it.
So the prologue. And these are a lot of the thoughts that I wrote. I wrote a lot of notes on the first, on the prologue, a little bit on the chapter 1, but after I wrote those notes and I started going through the book, I kind of low-key didn't have time to write all these notes. It would have taken me forever. So I just wrote down the key points of what happened and I'm just going to try to like, go through it. I'm glad you have your synopsis though. We'll probably hang on to that. Do you have one for every chapter?
Pretty much, yeah. Actually, they're a little short. I also have this shit that I wrote when I first finished the book. It's just like, it's just.
Do you want to read it now?
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
Go.
I haven't really read it since I wrote it. All right. I just literally just wrote this like after reading the book. So, Memoirs Misinformation. I put, what is happiness? Why are we so dissatisfied? Why are we so disillusioned? What are we working towards? Enough money to stop working? What of boredom? Boredom kills. Taking care of others. But what is happiness when you reach a goal? We expect immediate return. It's like I buy things and I try to feel whole. I fuck, I drink, I consume narcotics. All distractions, but happiness seems a distraction, an abstraction more than these other things. Should we set reachable goals? When all goals are accomplished, then what? Let's say I get my dream job, all the money I could want, and take care of my family. What's next? How long before I'm disillusioned and dissatisfied? We view life as a journey with an end goal. The only real question is, do you want to reach that end? You know, because like, I don't know. I just wrote all this shit. So I'm thinking about that a lot, dude. Because thinking about it, like, it's true. Like, I feel like Jim Carrey illustrates that perfectly. It's like, what happens when you set all these goals for yourself and you reach them? Like, we all think that life is this straight linear journey where we're supposed to be from point A to point B, but what happens when you get point B, and how long does that? I think he talks about in the movie when he in the book when he has I don't know what movie he's talking about, maybe it's The Mask or something, but he talks about how big it was and how like the night it came out and when he was touring at first it was amazing and he felt so great about himself, but as time went on and it started fading from public opinion and view, that he could feel himself like start, feeling shitty again. And it just made me think, like, it's true. Like, I mean, I've thought about these things before, but like with any goal, like once you reach like that girl that you've always wanted, once you get her, like how long before you're sick of it? Or that fucking goal you set that you've been wanting so bad, you finally got it, but what happens next? And then it made me think, like, do you really want to ever reach these things? Like, are we supposed to? Like, because if you are, then why wouldn't you? I don't know, dude. You know, everybody's just dissatisfied.
I think that what you're talking about kind of is this overwhelming sense that we just cannot appreciate anything for a certain amount of time. No matter how good it is, no matter how amazing it makes you feel, whatever, it eventually will fade away. But I also think that that's because our souls and our spirits are fleeting. There's something biological in our brains and in our spirits that make us want to continue to improve. And even though it is definitely, it sucked because we can't be happy for a certain amount of time, no matter how great it is. That's just who we are as humans. And that sucks. But what's also the other side of that, but that's what makes us special. That's what makes human beings this fucking force of energy throughout the universe, because we have spirits and this want to continue to grow, and we're not mechanical and binary. We have hopes and dreams, and it sucks, and we have pain that come with it, but we also have this, the happy side to it. We have this fluctuation of ideas and energies and happiness, and that is in and of itself the essence of our human life, which is a curse and a gift,
No, I feel you. Yeah, because I understand the concept. Like, I know we're not supposed to be happy all the time, but the book made me think though, like, it is interesting to think, like, because most people, like, especially in our culture today, even if you do find something else you like let's say you want to be fucking, I don't know, just any job you like. But in the back of us, most of us, just because of the culture we live in, most of us would easily take fame and all that and would want that over everything else.
That's true.
And it's just like, it's interesting how like the need to be relevant is more important than the need to be happy in a way, because we think that being relevant is going to make us happy. Like Jim Carrey thought that for a good portion of his life. The more relevant I am, the more people know me, the more people know my work, the more impact I have on other people, the better my life is inevitably going to be. And he talks about that. That's completely untrue. Like, he wasn't really happy till he started saying fuck everybody else. It's really only, you know, that need to be relevant is only going to hurt you in the end, because no matter what, you'll never stay relevant forever. And I remember there was a part in the book where they said you're going to forget more people in your life than you'll remember. Or no, they said more people will forget you than will remember you. And I was like, dude, that is fucking true. And like, you know, especially when you grow up, you don't realize that you're so concerned with everybody's thoughts. But then as you get older, you like, even now, like, we're not that old, but I start to see it with myself now. Like, I kind of really don't give a fuck as much anymore. Like, and I could see it fading as I get older, you know, because you start to realize, like, they ain't gonna make you happy no matter what they think about you, good or bad. And chances are, when you fuck up and you think they're thinking about you, they're probably not thinking about you, because most people are so concerned with themselves already that we are too. Like, I'm so concerned with myself. If I fuck up, the next day I'm thinking everybody must be thinking about it. But it's like, most people are probably just going about their day because they don't give a shit, you know.
So funny. Like, it's so crazy that I do that exact same thing. How many times have I texted you the day after we hung out and said sorry for some shit you probably weren't even thinking about? You know what I'm saying? You know that we all do that. But I think that's but not everybody does do that.
That is true. Some people are just dicks.
I think that some people just don't give a fuck, or they're stupid, or they don't, you know, whatever. But I think that's a sign of just wanting to improve and be better, and just being a good person, not a shitty person. But
an asshole. Because like, that's the thing. Like, you know, like, there's a difference between being concerned with not being concerned with being relevant and just being a straight up asshole, you know, about it, you know. So it's like, but no, dude, it just, I don't know, it made me think about a lot of shit. I was like, fuck, dude. Like, just made me, I don't know. I don't know.
Made me think about a lot too, dude. You know what? I don't know if the book did it to me, but as I was reading the book, or as, you know, through over the weeks or whatever, the last couple of weeks of thinking about the book, one night I was falling asleep and I couldn't sleep for like 2 hours. I had this overwhelming thought and this fear that, how do I not know? How do we know that when we go to sleep and then we wake up, that the person who we were when we fell asleep dies, and the person we wake up as is a completely different person with the same memories and same feelings, but it's a different person. And that when you're going to sleep, how do you know that you're going to be you when you wake up? And it was fucking with me. And I couldn't fall asleep. I was scared to fall asleep.
That'd be interesting. I like that concept. That'd be an interesting concept for a movie, dog.
Yeah, it tripped me out, bro. I was like, holy fuck. And then
I used to think not that, but I used to think, like, how do we know that when you go to sleep and you dream, that dream world isn't the real world, and when we're awake, that this is the dream, you know? Like, how do you know that? Because, you know, like, I have pretty vivid dreams sometimes, and it's like, how do I know that that's not real? And then, like, you know, you die in a dream and then you wake up here, so it's like, how do you know that this isn't, like, I don't know, you know?
No, I feel that. I like that. I love that. I honestly think that when we die, we just enter a constant dream.
Or it just starts over, you know?
Or it just starts over, Who knows? But one more, what the fuck? Oh, one thing I wanted to bring up before we get into the book. Do you know the story behind the cover?
No, not at all,
so Jim Carrey was in Hawaii. And a few years back, do you remember that? I think us in California even got it. We all got this notification on our phone, a ballistic missile was incoming. He was in Hawaii at the time, and when it said on the notification that the missile was incoming and going to hit Hawaii and to take cover. That. And he was there on the and I guess in Hawaii there was no news. He couldn't get to the news. All he had was a notification on his phone and people calling him or something like that. And he said, and somebody had called him. His daughter called him. I think it was. I was his daughter. I can't really remember. I don't know for sure if that was, but somebody called him, maybe a publicist or something. But as he was trying to answer it, and because he thought he didn't know what the fuck was going to happen, they didn't know. He went to answer it, and he took a screenshot. His camera popped up on the selfie camera, and he took a screenshot on accident as he was trying to answer it. So that's what this picture is literally Jim Carrey in the moment, not knowing if he was going to live or die, and that's what this blurred image is behind.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah. that's crazy,
cool,
right?
Man. Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah, he talked about it in one of the interviews, and he just said how like he started crying, talking about like, can you imagine getting that notification on your phone and fucking having it? Like he said that who he was talking to said, well, they had to hang up, so he had to basically say goodbye in that conversation. Didn't know if he was going to see him again, and then obviously they're okay, but. Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's fucking wild.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that.
That's a really good story, dude. I like that. I did not know that.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So
I would have never even looked into the cover like that. So that's cool.
There's an interview I listened to with him and Dana Vachon. That's like
okay. Yeah, I didn't watch it yet. I didn't know if I should. Sometimes I don't know if I want to. Like I
listened to it right after I heard the book.
I was gonna say I'll probably watch it like after this.
It's super interesting. Yeah, super interesting.
Dude, I love watching him talk now. I've been watching a lot of interviews.
Dude, it's a trip. All the research I've done on the book, like I think that video with him being interviewed has like 5,000 views or like just a few thousand views, like nothing. Like it's kind of wild to me that this book has kind of gone under the radar in a way. But a lot of books.
I feel like a lot of books already. I feel like do that now, and then on top of that, like with everything going on, True. Which is weird. I feel like people should be reading.
Yeah,
doing something. Yeah.
All right. So we'll start at the prologue, and then we'll just go from there.
I like.
The prologue. We find ourselves with Jim Carrey right in his mansion, a very very apocalyptic setting. I wrote one of the most immersive and descriptive scenes I've ever read. The dark end of times apocalyptic description of Los Angeles is amazing. I love the description of the way Carrey began to feel safe when he heard wildlife being killed by his electric fence. I have more notes, but I'll let you go.
Oh, dude, now that I'm glad you brought up the electric fence. I actually have a quote about that I thought was,
hell yeah.
Tells a lot about like him, and like the idea is when it says Jim had since begun to hear the sizzles and squeaks of electrocuted wildlife as a sorrowful necessity, animal sacrifice to his godhead. Like he's so fucking important that the fact that animals are dying on this electric fence, that's okay, because as long as it keeps the paparazzi away from me, as long as it keeps me safe. Like, who cares about everything else, nature, animals? And especially from someone like Jim, who later in the book goes on to say several times, like, I'm not a violent person. I'm, like, all for the animals. I'm pretty sure, like, he's all for life, but he's willing to sacrifice these animals just for his own privacy, Which is, I thought that was just interesting,
I like the idea of that, too. Just hearing an animal die on an electrocuted fence around you, just somehow becoming, like, this thing that makes you feel safe.
Yeah, like it made him feel better. Like, okay, the fence is working. You know,
I like that too. I like how he's like security check, and then the security alarm just starts shouting out all the different things that are secure and stuff like that. The entire idea of the security system, and then this mansion setting with this crazy lunatic in a room watching Netflix. It's just so crazy.
I bet you the security system's already like that, though. They talk to them for
I'm
sure.
Fucking sure.
Like the fridges talk to you now, so I bet you the fucking security systems. Let me see. I have some other quotes. Let me see. But go ahead. I'm looking right now.
I wrote, Jim Carrey sounds scary and extremely interesting. The idea of using Netflix binging as something a madman going crazy in one room in a futuristic mansion would be doing is awesome. Jolfio? Is it Jolfio? The Rottweilers?
Something like that.
Yeah. It's fucking amazing. I love that. The idea that he can just shout out love or whatever he says, and they just start showing him compassion and all these different ideas. It's just really, really cool. I really like the prologue. I could like literally just read that shit over and over. It's so cool.
No, the prologue is pretty good. It does open up well. The dogs, I like how those are like his only friends. I have this though too, which he was descended from these orphans. It was one of the shows he's watching on Netflix. I forget what show it was, but they were dying, and it was like he was descended from these orphans, feeling their doom as his own. He'd begun crying tears, which I thought is funny, because I was I'm trying to remember what me and Frankie were talking about. Talking about something. We were watching something, and the dude was like, he was talking about these real world issues, and like he was sad about them, but every time he was talking about them, he would kind of relate them to his own life, and like it almost like I remember me and Frank were talking about it. Like it almost became like it doesn't really seem like you're sad about those issues. It seems like you're so vain that you're making this about yourself, which I almost took that to be too. Like he's crying, but is he crying because he's really sad, or is he crying because like he said, "Oh, I came from them. That could have been me," which is what a lot of people do. Like, "Oh, that could have been me," and is that? I don't know. I've been thinking like, is that a legit sense of sorrow that you're feeling for somebody else, or is that sorrow that because you're so vain you're putting yourself, because you know when you think about it, like if like somebody's wife died and it's like your really good friend or something like that, like I'd be really sad for them, you know, but like am I legit sad for them, or am I sad because I'm putting myself in their shoes and thinking if that was me I'd be devastated? So, and it's like obviously I am sad for them too, that's why I'm doing that, but because it takes me putting myself in their shoes to think, oh my God, if that was me, I'd be devastated. This is terrible. Isn't that vain in itself? We're thinking like, you know, like we're putting ourselves in that situation, and that's why we're feeling that grief, because it didn't really happen to us, but we're feeling that grief because we're putting ourselves there. But why are we putting ourselves there to begin with? Because we're just so vain.
You're starting to see through the fucking ego is what you're doing. Everything that you're thinking and saying is just this ego dissolving idea and perspective. And it's like, and I'm there too. Trust me. Like it's crazy to lay down, Jay. It's crazy to think about because it's I felt like I've thought about it and I could never truly understand it. And this book has helped me moving a lot of different things in my life in the last few weeks and mostly months. Has been amazing and just like life-changing, mind-altering, just being able to work and focus on just like, even though it fucking sucks, just being able to fucking put my head in the ground and just fucking push through it. It's just a lot of different things that I'm starting to understand. And when it comes to, I feel like I'm starting to understand more. I'm not starting to understand totally.
Yeah.
Ego.
No, I feel you.
The ego is something I've truly been thinking about. I've actually even been considering making an entire album called Ego Death or something like that, and just like the concept of it. But and like you're talking about, you say that like, is there any sort of sorrow that we can feel that isn't selfish? Is there any sort of almost any feeling, love, anything that we can feel that isn't selfish? And I don't think there is, because we constantly are living through this facade of the ego. All our emotions and thoughts and everything is being routed through the fucking ego first, which in and of itself is selfish.
Yeah. No, dude.
You know? That's just true.
Dude, exactly. Like, honestly, like that part I wrote down, I didn't pick it up the first time I read it. It was the second time through when I wrote it down. And dude, it honestly made me think. That's why I was saying earlier about the Instagram thing too. When I think about posting things now, I just think about all, like, a lot of the things I do, like the clothes I buy, because, like, you know, I've been buying more clothes, I've been buying more shit because I've had money because of everything, and it's like, part of me thinks, yeah, I'm doing this for me, but part of me thinks, am I doing this for me, or am I doing this to keep up this facade? Oh, look at that dope shirt he has. Like, oh, look at this guy's cool. Like, this guy's on it. And I was like, man, like how? And it just made me think about everything. Like, I mean, obviously there are things I do just for me, but sometimes there's still even that idea though where I think about, oh shit, I can't wait to rock this somewhere. I can't wait to do this. Like, and it's like, fuck, dude, like, how much of my life has been invaded by the notion, like you said, of my ego, and what can I do to inflate my ego? Where, like, I mean, I think now I'm just getting more used to, like, not talking, like, I don't know, being more alone with myself, which is, I feel like, a product of me actually being home a lot now, because I, you know, like, I just started working again, but, like, getting more comfortable with that idea, like, that I really don't need. I mean, I love my friends, I love everybody, but I need to get okay with the idea that I don't need them, though, either, you know? Like, and that's okay. Like, it's okay to not need them. You can still love them without needing them. It's just been, dude, I swear, the book and just watching Jim Carrey and then the movies, Truman Show, it's just been making me think a lot about, like, fuck, dude, like, it's everybody's life is so pervaded with our notion of our fucking inflated ego and how we just need to be the center of everything, you know? Even when we're not trying to be, we still, it's like, pay attention to me. It's like, Frankie, you're ignoring me. Give me some fucking attention, you know?
And even
like,
in this conversation, as we're talking about ego, we're recording it for people to listen to us.
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
You know? So it's a trip. It's an oxymoron. And I think low key, what I've kind of come to terms with is it's a loop. It's an oxymoron. It's kind of unfeasible for us to truly understand, but it's definitely, I'm not saying it's not worthwhile to communicate or to discuss or nothing like that, but it's kind of like a loop, and it can fucking mind fuck you and put you in a really bad loop of bad habits and bad bullshit. And bad habits can also be intense contemplation that never has an end. Contemplate. There was something I tweeted recently. It was like you have to think and then act and something. And I felt like I was stuck in this thinking fucking cycle. I could not get into the action because I was thinking for so much. And being able to act lately and do things that I want to do, become the person I want to become, has been like, oh shit. Like I was just stuck in the thought, and I now and the action.
Honestly, dude,
is beautiful.
I feel like that's where I am at right now. You know, like I feel like I'm realizing it now though, but it's like I'm just so fucking like stuck in my own head sometimes that I just don't get anything done, which actually has been getting a little bit better just because I don't know why it's been getting better. I've just been trying to focus more on just me, you know?
Yeah,
like
good.
Dude, like for the longest time, like I would, if Frankie wasn't home, like I'll try to read, or like I'll always try to be doing something, but then it gets so much to the point where I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do anything now. And then lately, I don't know. Lately, I've been actually trying to just like, all right, you know what? I don't fucking need to do anything right now. Like, I'm going to put a movie on. I'm going to fucking put my phone in the room, fucking smoke a fat bowl, and sit on this couch by myself, you know, and just be alone, you know? Like, and it's like, I feel like, I don't know why I haven't been doing this more my whole life, you know?
I feel you.
I don't know. It's just like, but dude, it's hard. It's interesting to think, though, how do you break something like the ego? Like you said, it has to be a loop. Because how can you break the ego when, like, dude, our whole personalities are based off that. Like, you think when you're a baby, you don't have any say of who you're around, you know?
Yeah.
You grow up around the people you grow up, and you grow up hearing the things. Either you grow up hearing, oh, you're great, you're smart, you're this, or you grow up hearing the opposite. But either way, your whole idea of yourself from the day you're born is being formed by the opinions of the people around you.
Yeah.
And then eventually you either adopt those opinions or maybe you reject them. But either way, yourself has already been formed because you're either taking those same principles that they have like put on you and becoming what they have told you are, or you're rejecting it, but you're only rejecting it because they've told you. So either way, your whole personality has been shaped by the people around you and not you, you know? Unless you grew up completely alone, but nobody really does that. And if you do, you're stunted in other ways, you know?
Yep.
Then you're stunted socially and like, you know, like people's speech is stunted if you don't have people talking to you. So it's like you literally need that input, but that input also goes on to shape your whole being. So it's like, how do you even escape that? Like, it's like a never ending. And like, even when you realize it later, still you're realizing it. But all the ideas that have even allowed you to get to this point of realizing it were formed at some other point. So it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, there's base root to all this. And it's like, how would you even get under to destroy that root? You really couldn't, you know, unless you completely cut yourself off from everybody and just took off, which is sometimes what people do. Like, you know, look at Dave Chappelle or like fucking people like that, like, or Jim Carrey even. Like, you just take off and you go. Most people can't do that, but you know, like,
some people never get to
the only way.
Some people never get to the point where they even understand these concepts in general. They literally die still completely enveloped in their ego and not even understanding that they are. And that's not even said with judgment. That might be said with jealousy. That might be, you know, I might have resentment for people like that because their lives are so simple and because they don't think this way and because they live and die basically blissfully ignorant and there's in a beautiful way.
It's true. Because once you start thinking this way, no matter what, it's gonna, of course, it's gonna be helpful for you in the long run. But no matter what, it's also gonna, like, I don't want to say hurt, but it's also going to disrupt your life a little bit because you'll start thinking about the things you're doing. Which you're right, it is a blessing to be one of those ignorants. Never have a concern with who you hurt. Never have a concern with what you do, or like if you did a bad job, don't care, or if you did this, don't care. You know, like for people like us who actually think about it, and then like now that we're getting more into like even ourselves, like. It's hard work working on yourself. Most people don't want to do that. Most people want their environment to change or the people around them to change when really The only way that changes is if you fucking change yourself and do it yourself. But most people don't want to put in that work. Like, even me sometimes, it's hard, you know?
It is.
Sometimes it's much easier to just get drunk and go fucking party and forget about it, you know?
For a little while until you wake up. And it's just like
until you wake
worse.
up. Exactly. All right. I like how we barely made it through.
I know.
There's just things just so dense with ideas.
It's fucking prologue. Or what else do I have? I wrote, the scene of this bearded, paranoid future version of Jim Carrey amidst the red glow of a Netflix screen while Googling photos of celebrity autopsies is not only skin-crawling and tantalizing, it's something Jim actually said he's done before in real life, and is something he thinks about a lot. As far as the celebrity autopsies, he talked about it in the interview, that as the real thing, that he found himself and finds himself looking at them and just realizing he's just a commodity, which is something he mentions in the book later. What else? He also mentions how he's like, am I alive? Am I dead? It sounds like he's already in like a limbo. He's already, this entire fucking book could be just him falling asleep on this bed amidst this red Netflix glow. In a sense, that's kind of what I don't know. It's almost like, you know, the end and the way it ends kind of makes me think that that's what I just said is true, that it might just be some sort of a dream that he has, man, because, you know, it could be like,
dude, the ending's really hard. When I read it the second time, I was trying to figure it out, and I still couldn't completely figure out if he ever leaves that chamber and the alien thing happens, or if everything happens in that chamber because he signs his life away. So now he's just living in this chamber of, I guess, misinformation and fucking false memories, you know? Because, you know, they don't really... The last thing that happens after the Rodney Dangerfield thing is they want him to sign the contract, and then he sees in the chamber his bed, and he wants to go crawl in it.
Yeah.
And so he does, and then he wakes up, and the alien thing happens. So it's like, did he ever leave that chamber? I mean, they say he does, but at the same time, they don't really ever prove that he does, or... And, you know, they don't really...
But what would be the significance of that, of the last line in the book? Like, who would be saying that, or what would be saying that? The shh.
Wait, let me look at it.
It just says, like, something comes out and says, something from the void says, shh, or something like that.
I don't know. It could be the fucking speakers. Remember, he was hearing things in his ear that were telling him the next line for Rodney Dangerfield, you know? And there's one part during the alien thing, too, when it actually happens. He says, I think it's, they're all talking, and he said, I knew what I was going to say before it even came out of my mouth. And that's what he says also during the Rodney Dangerfield thing. And it's like one of the lines that they're feeding him. So I was thinking, like, is the alien, is he still in there, you know? But I don't know, you know? It also could be real, you know?
I think it's a fucking trip. I think it's either some sort of psychedelic trip. He did fucking salvia or some shit in his room. Salvia. Or some shit. Salvia, this is the only thing that I could feel like salvia, you can go, if you do, like, really intense amount and you just eat the leaves, you can go on these really, really intense, like, extended psychedelic trips. Yeah, eat the leaves is how you're supposed to do it. And when you eat the leaves, it's not like when you smoke it. When you smoke it, it's a completely different thing. When you eat the leaves, it's like almost, you can get it to where it's like a body high and it feels like amazing. That's how salvia is supposed to be. Yeah,
I could be down for that.
Yeah, it looks good. I did a documentary on it. It looks bomb. But so in this prologue too, he talks about, did I die? Did I really die in that snowboarding accident? And
when he reads it on the news, like TMZ reports that he died.
So exactly. And
dude, that has to be a trip, because that actually probably, I'm pretty sure that's happened to actors before. That has to be a trip to wake up one morning and read that you're dead and not be dead. You know?
It's an ongoing death hoax about Jim Carrey. That's what made me look into it, because I remember hearing that a hoax.
Oh, it's a real thing?
Yeah, it's a real thing. People post every few years that Jim Carrey died in a snowboarding accident. And I've read it before.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a real thing. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, that has to be a trip to wake up one morning and the thing trending, Jim Carrey's dead. It's like, no, I'm not, you know? It has to be, like, fucking weird, you know? Having people text you, like, probably, you know, family members, are you alive, you know? It's like, fuck.
I wrote, he keeps wondering, hold on, my bad. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go. This is completely different. So
okay. Yeah, this kind of adds to it. I wrote, he keeps wondering, oh, fuck. I need to quit using Evernote, dude. It's not a good he keeps wondering if he's dead or if he's going to die. Makes it feel like the purgatory he described. Also makes it feel like a man beginning to enter the depths of an intense psychedelic trip. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It is very psychedelic, you know, and it's very like dream, like the way it moves.
I'm really surprised that we didn't hear DMT or LSD or maybe I think he mentioned LSD once when talking about somebody, but that was it. I would love to. I don't think ask him if he's ever done psychedelics.
I bet you he has, but you know, I honestly like. I think that's kind of a cool aspect though, because I love obviously the psychedelics and everything. But I feel like for a story like this, it could have cheapened it if we would have just, if at the end it would have been just all a trip. Like, it's nice to think of the idea, but if he would have just told us that, I feel like it would have cheapened it. So it is cool, you know? Like, even at the part where they're at the house and they're telling their feelings, like, I was thinking, like, oh, are they doing, that's where they mentioned the ayahuasca. They mentioned that the dude gave it to the business people and then he got fired. Yeah. I was like, damn. But I have one more quote from it. Doesn't really have anything to do with a lot of the things we're talking about. It actually would open up a whole different a whole different thing that I don't even think I'm equipped to talk about because I don't know much about film. But I like when he says, Charlie Kaufman once told him that that cinema's guiding illusion of distinct frames affecting fluid continuity was the same trick that creates the impression of time in the mind. And I was like, dude, that's so interesting to think about it because, like earlier, like I think I said earlier, like it's so weird that we do think about time as linear, you know? Like, I don't know, like, because there's a lot of just evidence that time is not really, you know, we're only perceiving it as linear, you know? But it's all almost happening at the same time. It's just, we're seeing this part. Like, and like, I like how he related that to film, though, and how, like, we do record things. Like, it's frame by frame, and that's why it gives you, like with a cartoon drawing, when you draw it, you see each frame separately, it just looks like drawings. Yeah. But you flip them together, it looks like it's moving in a fluid motion, like straight
it's one
line.
thing rather than
and like that's how our life is. Like it's literally like if I just took a still right now, it would just be this picture of this room, but nothing. But these stills all put together gives us this impression of time and that we're actually doing something and moving. I don't know. It's just, that's a whole different conversation.
Dude, that's so wild that you wrote that quote down because that's the only quote I wrote down from that.
Dude, it's a great quote. And I'm telling you, dude, if we want to get in this, I swear, dude, we should do Dark, that show I'm telling you about.
Oh, okay.
Dark completely deals. It's all about time and linear time and how time's not linear, and it's deep. I think it would be perfect for this show. It is scary, dude. It's almost too much. Like it's a mind fuck, you know, which is perfect. I feel like that's what this is shit's all about, you know.
Yeah.
Should we go on to chapter 1, or you got anything else?
I just wanted to shout out Volver, Linda Ronstadt, banger. You know,
banger. You know, I couldn't find her version. I heard the Vicente Fernandez one, but I couldn't find hers.
That one's fire. Yeah, but I found hers. I commented on it, and on the video, and I wrote. So this is what she used to sing to Jim Carrey, huh? And like a couple people liked it.
Dang, you big, bro.
I wrote, starting the book. This is the last thing I wrote. Starting the book off with the image of Jim Carrey curled up in a ball and weeping is perfect.
Yeah, my synopsis was Jim Carrey watches Netflix and ponders existence and his own relevance.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so chapter 1.
Actually, hold on. Let's take a break. I got to take a piss real quick. And let me get the dog out.
All right, I'm good.
Oh, my God. I have a mimosa. Thank you, man.
What do you want me to do?
Wow, this podcast will get wild.
What do you want me to do with her?
I got mimosas, bruh.
Mimosas? Damn, what the hell? Kind of life you living? You at the Ritz?
I'm at the Chateau Marmont or whatever.
Oh, damn.
That's why I do all my podcasts, baby. Come on now.
Damn, you got that mimosa. You're on a level right now.
I'm on this level.
I feel like I should grab a beer now.
Shit, grab a beer, baby.
That's all I needed to hear. I'll be right back.
That's right. Hey, do you like White Claws or like seltzer drinks?
Dude, I like they're okay. I like the Trulies the best, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like. I like those the worst. I don't really like either that much though. You know.
Yeah, I feel you. True.
But I have some. Like I had some when we were at Daniel or at Jill's thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but nah, this is a Michelob trying to stay thin.
I see that. Cheers, bro. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
We're back. Mind control's back.
Is Monica just making mimosas or what?
she wanted to make breakfast. This is like our first like legit weekend, having the new couch, having the bed and everything. So, but
All right, so should we go on?
Yes, let's go on. I don't have. Okay, so what are the notes I have for chapter 1? And this after. Okay. So one thing I did want to mention really quick is that I really like the apocalyptic setting that's described in the prologue and throughout the book. So I didn't mention that, but I really fucking like that.
You did actually. As I said, I think you mentioned when you gave your synopsis of the book in the beginning. Yeah, you brought up how you liked how he describes LA and everything.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I did say that. Okay, cool, perfect. So, yeah. So, what is chapter 2 exactly? If you want to do your synopsis as we go down, and then I'll just kind of comment.
So chapter 1. Okay, so this is what happens in chapter 1. He discovers Oksana, who's Georgie, when he's watching. He's watching that show about the Soviet Union or about the spies, and then he wants to meet her, and then they talk about her when she was on Survivor, and like what happened, and then and then Jim Carrey thinks about his movie premiere and his related happiness, which fades, and that's the quote I have. The movie was falling from popular consciousness. He felt his spirits fading with it, as if by unknown laws of human industrial entanglement.
Yeah.
Like, which is, that's I think we actually talked about that earlier about how is when the movie came out, he felt great, but as it was fading from consciousness, he started feeling bad again. Yeah. Even though he did good work, it's like once it wasn't relevant anymore, he felt bad about himself again.
I love the way
I like how he says. Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say, I just like how he says human industrial entanglement. Yeah. Like, because that is what it's become, especially if you look at actors. Like, it's like, where does the human start and where does the industry start? Like, where does Jim Carrey and whoever actually, where does the character of Jim Carrey end,
It's wild to think that, tangled. There's a lot of jobs, right? There's a lot of different jobs you can have. But the job of being famous, which you can be famous for a lot of different ways. Fame is not just like, it's almost like a symbiosis of life. Like you have to become something different if you're famous. You have to live life a certain way. You have to do things a certain way. You have to act a certain way. And it's not just a normal life anymore. It's a weird symbiosis of normal life and the life of fame.
It's like what you said. It's like he's a commodity now. You know, there's no. When he leaves the studio, even though he's done making Ace Ventura, he's still Jim Carrey to the rest of the world, and still has to live. It's almost. I mean, I don't want to say it like this because I feel like no matter what, that job is doper than a lot of other jobs. That you could have, but. It is like a 24/7 job. You never stop being Jim Carrey, especially once you get to that level. Like Kanye West never goes out and stops being Kanye West. No matter what he does, even if he doesn't want to be famous, people are still going to see him out and be like, that's Kanye West, So it's like, it is a full-time thing,
If somebody told you, listen, you're going to be famous, you're going to be rich, your dreams are going to come true, but you're never going to be able to be out in public ever again without somebody fucking bothering you. You'll never be able to go to a restroom. You're going to be, every single action you have is going to be scrutinized and looked over. You won't be able to comment on things without fucking stirring up a huge thing. All these negative aspects to what fame is. Do you even think about it?
So the sad thing is that even hearing you say that, and I could see the negatives definitely outweigh the positives, I would instantly be like, well, fuck yeah, give it to me. Like, let's just do it. Let's just do it, I don't know, like, I feel like I don't know, the idea, though, no matter what I tell myself, even though I know it's stupid, the idea of being so financially secure, you never have to worry about money again, and you can literally go on as many vacations as you want. Of course, you lose that privacy, but you go anywhere. Sounds more appealing than,
of course, right?
The opposite. But I bet, after, like, everything, like you said, after, no matter what, once you get into something, no matter how much you love it, eventually it wears you down, or you hate it, or you get sick of it, Like, it's hard. But, I mean, some people make it work, though. Like, you look at Tom York, fool's super famous, and if you saw him, you know him, but to be honest, he pretty much stays out of the limelight, though. You don't really hear much about him.
Everyone's wearing a mask now anyway. You'd be chilling.
Dude, I saw a thing.
Go ahead.
Tom Cruise is wearing a mask and went to go see that Tenet movie, and somebody comes up and says what's up to him, and then after he's like, how do you even recognize me? He's like, I got my mask on. He's like, what the heck? And I was like, dude.
I got recognized at work the other day.
With your mask on?
Yeah. She came up to me
Yeah?
and she said, did you used to make YouTube videos? I was like, yeah, hi, what's up? You know, whatever. I felt weird. Then I was like, how'd you recognize me? She's like, I don't know. And it's like, what? I was like,
Bro,
what
speaking
the fuck?
of that, why have you not capitalized? Why aren't you making masks with this on?
I
would be
am
dope,
trying,
dude.
but there's no, it's kind of a weird, what are you going to do? Like a little Audible logo on the mouth? That would be kind of weird.
Yeah.
No?
Maybe because it's a circle, but it'd be cool, you know? It could be cool.
You know, I have face neck gaiters, the
really?
tie-dye ones but I printed them wrong. So when you put it on, it's like only half the face. So it's kind of weird.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's kind of been hard to try to design one, but I definitely should. I didn't think about just like regular face masks. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, you know, but people have been doing it, you know?
Yeah, that's
Some of them
true.
were dope.
I
Like,
should
and
do that, I
now
should
it's
do that.
like almost like an accessory, you know?
Yeah,
you gotta
sure.
wear masks most places.
I'll look into that. I never thought about the actual fucking like doctor mask with it, but so this is when he's introduced to Georgie also, right? And you mentioned
No.
that Oksana and all that. They talk about Survivor. We're introduced to it.
So
We're
introduced.
Yeah.
But yeah, he meets her in the next chapter.
I love
That's
her introduction. She sounds so fire, and you know she's a made up character. Like I didn't really look into too much as who she's based on, but
I didn't either.
I don't think there is a
but,
certain person, but
Yeah, I actually watched this whole one of the. I don't know if you watched it. It was one of the ones I sent you, not the short one where he's at the awards. It was like a 5-minute video, and it talked about his life, and it talked about how his love life too, and how he like went through, like, he was married 3 or 4 times, you know, and So at first, when I first read it the first time, I didn't know she wasn't real. I was like, oh, I wonder if this chick's real. But then when I read it the second time, just from reading the rest and then looking up about him, I was like, oh, okay. This is obviously made up, but it obviously must be part, you know, like
so
it must be some based in some form of reality, you know. Like
Cathriona White is the girlfriend he had who killed herself.
So I was wondering if that's supposed to be the other girl, the Marilyn Monroe girl who tries to kill herself.
I didn't really look into that. I don't know if I wanted to too much because kind of like I initially I was going to, but then I just kind of felt a little like, I don't know. Like sleazy. It's not really meant to be like
That's how I felt. I was thinking too, like it could be totally unrelated. Like, why would you put something like that in your book intentionally? You know,
I think that definitely was some sort of connections there, but I think that all his ex-girlfriends and stuff were kind of all Georgie, and all of them were also
exactly
Celeste or Marilyn Monroe
and it's almost like he gets so in love with them, but you know, at the same time though, you know, they get sick of him, you know, because of how he is. But yeah, that chapter 1, that's pretty much all that happens.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is still a lot, you know, but.
And then on chapter 2 is when he takes Georgie to the yoga.
This is one of my favorite chapters.
Dude, can you not? That's one of the cool things that I liked about the book is that the characters, you can put a face to them very easily. You can even do the voices in your mind, which made it funnier. Like hearing Nick Cage and Nicolas Cage and all these fucking people do these voices. Anthony Hopkins doing all these wild things. Anthony Hopkins fucking like getting down on one knee to propose to that lady, and then she say no, and like it's just so cartoonish and cool. But such an easy thing to like envision because you know what they look like, you know what they sound like, and I really like that. So, but go ahead.
Dude, no, Sean Penn and Gwyneth Paltrow were like my favorites, dude. Like Gwyneth Paltrow's story about the pig.
Tight.
Yeah, dude, I like how they made her sound like crazy. Like
she's badass at the end too.
Yeah, and I like how Sean Penn's just like at the end they talk about when he puts the cigarette out on his arm, you know, like he's just like fucking badass and shit. Like
I like his moment. Like he doesn't talk until the end, I think, but his like little thing that he says is really fucking dope.
The synopsis I have for this is that Guru Natchez, whatever, that's his name, I think. And then the spiritual gathering, and then where Nicolas Cage talks about the end and the aliens. I love how though they're talking shit to Nicolas Cage, like what the fuck? You always make this about yourself, dude. Nicolas Cage is hands down my favorite character, though, dude. Like the shit he was saying, like. And just the way he, like, when, I think it's towards the end when he's, like, singing on the phone. Like, I think he calls Jim Carrey, it's when the world's ending. And he's like, look up in the sky. Or, like, he's, like, singing some song. And I was singing it in my head. I was like, dude, that's so funny. Like, he just seems like a trip.
He mentioned that Jim Carrey mentioned that Nicolas Cage really liked the book and that he liked his part in the book.
Dude, I bet he seems dope, dude. And all the movies he's been doing recently are crazy. Like he plays like characters like that, just super off the walls.
He's super funny, dude, and he does funny parts in movies. Like it's actually super interesting, and he does a really good job. Like the movie The Family Man. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
It's old. He wakes up.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, he wakes up in like as if he breaks up with his girlfriend like at the airport. And they never end up, or something happens to where they break up, but he goes to bed and wakes up, and because he's like a single fucking stock guy or whatever, like businessman, and then one night he goes to sleep and then he wakes up and he's transported to this life where he's a family guy and he has a wife, and he ends up marrying that girl he breaks up with years ago. And throughout the fucking movie, it's one of my favorite movies. I used to watch it a lot when I was younger, but it's fucking hilarious. It's a really good movie. It sounds corny and like cheap, like family movie, but it's actually really fucking funny.
No, dude, I'd check it out. I kind of want to go back and watch all his movies.
Yeah, it adds a lot. That movie in particular, like I feel like a lot of the lines, it's almost like a similar energy of just like what the fuck's going on type of shit. This type of Nicolas Cage, that's like what the fuck's going on. Yeah, so it added a lot. I loved everything. I loved the little things Kelsey Grammer says. He's fucking hilarious.
Stop hijacking others' memories or whatever. He says,
He's like a little annoying fanboy, and then just the way that he just continues to go on and through the end of the book, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
Kelsey Grammer is also super funny.
Yeah, dude. Chapter 2, I like that. I just like the gathering at the house, I bet you these fucking celebrities do this shit. Like all the time.
It's a trip to me that he takes Georgie basically on their first date to this experience. That's kind of a crazy thing to do, and it also talks
she
a lot,
loves it, though.
And that's the thing is I think it's important to talk about how throughout the relationship with Georgie, it's very, very obvious that she's using him like he's using her.
Yeah, he's using her for happiness. Yeah. She's using him for this lifestyle.
Exactly.
It's like they're both using each other for something, which makes you think about love in general. Like that's frequently, most of the time, in most relationships, is what happens. You're using them for your happiness. They're using you for theirs, and then one day, you guys don't find happiness in each other, or vice versa, or whatever the case is.
You want to hear something super deep that I heard one day? I don't know if it was Will Smith? Yeah, Will Smith said it about him and Jada that it's basically about like they realized that it was not okay and it was selfish of them to expect to find happiness in each other. And
I saw that.
Yeah, and it was actually like I don't know exactly the words, but yeah,
it's selfish. It's selfish. It's almost selfish. Like I'm expecting you to be my happiness when that's not how it should be.
Yeah. I should be giving you mine. We should share our happiness.
Yeah. We should be sharing it, and we should both be okay alone. And then because we're okay with ourselves, we could be happy together. Wow. So how can you be happy with somebody else if you're literally using them for, your own happiness? Because there's no way somebody's gonna make you happy all the time.
That's true.
No way. Yeah.
Holy shit. Getting fucking deep, bro. This podcast is changing my life.
It is, dude. That's how I feel. I feel like I feel good. Like I feel better. Like getting all this shit out.
Fuck yeah.
It was almost like therapy talking about all this shit.
Especially this book.
Yeah, it is. But, chapter 3.
Yeah, I believe this is the chapter where Georgie and Jim go back to his house and they just like kind of start fucking and shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is. Let me see. Do I have one? Yeah. They unite. Dude, this chapter though, I like that too. I fucking have some shit. This is that chapter when he wants Nicolas Cage to be like his best man or whatever it is.
No,
a little spiritual gathering, and then they do the wrestling match.
Yeah,
and Nick Cage is telling. Let me see what he said. What does Nicolas Cage say? Because he's trying to say that Georgie might not be good for him, and then Jim Carrey says Georgie's taking my pain away, and then Nick Cage says so would cyanide. And
that's a fire line. Fire line.
Yeah, dude. And then after he says too, Jim Carrey says I love her, and then Nick Cage said the dopamine, and I was like, dude, Nick Cage is like hitting him with it. But I just love Nick Cage in that part, like how fucking just wild he seems when they're wrestling, and I like how the shit he's saying. I was like, dude. It's the truth, and I love that line though, like you said, like fire, like people say that, like, oh, she makes me feel better, like she takes the pain away, but I like that, like, so would killing yourself, that's not a reason. That's just because she makes the pain go away doesn't mean that you're meant for each other, shit.
Everybody needs a friend like Nick Cage.
Dude, I know. And then I wrote this down because you haven't seen Eternal Sunshine. You should watch it though. It's
I'm
on
pretty
Netflix.
sure I watched it when it first came out. I'll watch it for sure.
And you sent me that thing about the colors of her hair, you know?
Yeah.
And if you watch the movie too, she's very colorful, and the whole movie he's pretty much in like pleated like gray and like darker colors. But it reminded me of this line where he says after do you need
Yeah, hold on, my bad.
yeah.
Do you need a refill?
Please.
You're not even done.
Oh, well, I'll finish this bitch right now.
Oh. Are you gonna be
Hey, Monica.
So you want me to bring you a plate?
Corey said hi.
Hi, Corey. Do you want me to bring you like a plate?
No, it's okay. I'll eat a little bit. But thank you. We're getting there. It's a good one. It's a good podcast.
The group
My bad, bro.
No. And then it reminded me of that because and he says in the book after Renee Zellweger, after Renee it was a bleeding cut or no. He's talking about his aura, and then he says after Renee it was bleeding out all its bright colors and just becoming this mucky gray. And I just think it's really interesting because like I wonder if he did pull from that a little bit because like that's I remember watching Eternal Sunshine. I didn't notice I knew that. I remember I told you when he sent me that. I was like, I knew there was something about the colors of her hair that was going on, but I couldn't figure it out. And he was constantly like gray, like darker colors, which it just reminded me of this. And then also like Charlie Kaufman is the dude who wrote and did Eternal Sunshine, which is also a big character. So like I was wondering if like he must have been because dude, I feel like Truman, Eternal Sunshine, and this. Like the themes all cross within each other.
Is there anything in the boat at the end of
Eternal Sunshine?
Yeah.
No, but a lot of it, a good part of it does take place on the ocean, like right by the ocean.
Okay.
Which is interesting because Truman Show also has the ocean.
The
This
Truman Show
also
ending
has
and
the
this ending of this book are so similar to me.
That is true. I didn't think about that, but now
It's so
that you
fucking
say
similar. It's the exact same
it's true.
ending almost.
Yeah, because I've watched Truman Show, and since I've watched it, I haven't read the book again. So I read it twice before. But now, yeah, you're right. Because like with the ocean, he's on the boat and everything. Yeah,
Dude, it's so cool that you got to watch it for the first time recently. That movie is fucking top 5 of all time. I literally used to think that was my dude for years. I would be in the restroom and I'd be like looking around and like there was times where I would say shit. I would talk out loud as if I'd be like, "Hi everyone," or it's like some shit like that. Like for years.
Yeah,
It fucked in my head.
Dude. It's a it's a fucking crazy movie, dude.
The idea of it, dude, is so like as a child who grew up in Barstow, who had no idea about nothing, who was so totally. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. The natural. The person who I am and how much that's shaped by growing up in fucking Barstow. Thank you, babe. That's like just growing up in this small ass little town.
I don't know. You got it like that, bro. Yeah.
Thank you, babe.
You may clear the service. But
so it's a wild thing to me to think about that and just say, yeah, it's a trip. It's a trip.
I didn't think about that though. You're right though. Like, I would say like because there's a pretty important part in Eternal Sunshine that takes place by the ocean, and then that's also where Truman Show, ends and where this ends. It's interesting.
Very similar. Very similar.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
And the ocean's like the great unknown, too.
Mm-hmm. It's always out in the ocean. And in the end of this book, dude, it made me feel a type of way. Like I was like, I couldn't breathe. Like it was claustrophobic. Feeling. But
nah, dude, it's a good end. It's a good book
for sure. So I think the next thing is the suicide of Mitchell Silver.
Oh, actually, yeah. In this chapter,
we didn't talk about the painting that he bought her. That painting.
Oh, the Frida.
Yeah. Hold on. There's a big ass spider running up my wall. Oh my god! It's so fast.
Get that shit, bro. Don't let it disrespect your house.
I've been trying not to kill spiders lately, and let them live, out of respect. But fuck that food.
They gotta respect your shit.
That's what I'm saying. Get the hell off my wall, man. Running all fast.
Yeah, they can't be coming up. That's how I feel. Like if you outside, that's one thing, but you coming in my domain, you're fucking with my shit.
Feel that exactly.
But
I think it's important. It's an important thing to mention as far as the painting. Him buying that painting for her that was like millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But Yep, that's all. I just wanted to mention that, and I think what's after? What's next? It's on you.
Oh, dude, this is another thing I do. I just want to bring this up. It's not really that important, but I love that they're obviously talking about Tom Cruise and that they call him Laser Jack Lightning. Like, I was like, dude, that's such a good name for him. Like, it just makes me think of Tom Cruise. You know,
What's so funny is that it's like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. It makes so much sense that name for him.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it makes me just think of him jumping on the couch on Oprah.
Oh my god, and all his parts too are just like you could eat. That's what's so cool about the characters are all famous people.
Yeah. So you know it. Yeah. Like you already have like because other books like you come up with what they look like in your head. This you already know what they sound like. You know what they look like. You vaguely know something about them. But no, dude, it's good. Dude, I was actually just thinking about Tom Cruise. I was watching that recently, the interview he did with Oprah and how everybody thought he was so crazy. But I watched it again. I was like, dude, the dude just seems.
He just seemed excited.
He just seems super excited and maybe a little off the wall. But like, he don't seem like. I remember at the time when everybody's making it seem like, oh, he's lost his mind. I was like, he just seems like, I don't know, like he is a little wild. But I don't know. I for some reason.
Did you watch it recently? Did you look
and
it
all
up?
that? Yeah. He's just I know he's a Scientologist and all that, but I really like Tom Cruise, dude. Like, I don't know. There's something about Tom Cruise that I just fucking like, dude.
I've heard good things. I love his acting either way, for sure. He's a fucking genius.
Dude. I just like him. He seems cool, too. I mean, I don't know. I get off topic. Chapter 4 is where Tan Calvin has Mitch Silvers kill himself. Yeah. Because they say they're going to cancel Earth as a program. Which, you know, should have been a hint for later on, but I didn't see it as that way, you know?
Damn, I didn't even get that the second time. I didn't even get that the second time. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, because he says, Oh, yeah. No, that's all I have. But I do think this is a really interesting line in that chapter, though, that then after Mitchell Silvers kills himself, it says, then Mitchell Silvers' brain splattered across the window where they'd cook for 3 days in the sun, generally admired by the neighbors who mistook it for a piece of art, you know?
Beautiful.
Like, I love that. Yeah, dude, I love that. Like,
so many beautiful lines like that, bro.
Yeah, dude, and like people were walking by thinking, "Oh man, that's crazy art," but it was this fool's dead. It was brain. Yeah, I was like, dude, I could totally see something like that happening too. Especially if you live in homes like that, you might think, "Oh, this guy is so out there. Look at that artwork on his wall."
And also the poetic meaning behind that is like a lot of the lines in this book are like song. It's like a song. This book is almost, you know, it's wild. I'm really curious. I feel like that's more Jim Carrey than Dana Vachon. I don't really know exactly what Dana Vachon's. I would really be really curious to know, like, what was he more about the sci-fi aspect? Was he more about the fucking storytelling, the poetic? Like, where did he come and where did Jim and him meet as far as the writing? That's kind of like something I'd be interested in knowing. But
maybe Dana is Jim.
Whoa! I couldn't find shit about Dana Vachon online. Nothing. He don't even got a Wikipedia.
I saw a picture though with both of them.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's a different guy. I saw the video, but it's still like kind of like, oh, he's not. He wasn't really known.
Jim Carrey created him.
Damn.
Whoa.
I think CBI did, or IBC, or whatever it's called.
CAA or something like that.
CAA, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So chapter
go ahead.
what? Chapter 5 is let me see.
This is when he fucks up his career by playing gay and portraying anal sex in Philip Morris.
Oh, I love Philip Morris. Yeah, I've never seen that movie, actually.
I didn't even know if it was real. I had to look it up.
It is a real movie.
Yeah, I looked it up and I watched the trailer and I was like, oh.
It has pretty good reviews, actually. Some people say it's really good.
I never seen it.
It's like, I kind of want to check it out, you know? Like, yeah.
I don't want to see Jim Carrey in anal sex. Do you?
I don't not want to see it.
I get that. I don't want to, but I don't not want to. It's not.
I want to see the movie though because, like, I don't know. Sure. I kind of want to see the movies that he brought up in the book. You know?
Yeah, I feel like him mentioning that movie in this way was kind of like, I don't know. I wonder how he thinks about that movie. Is he proud? Was him bringing it up in this way? Him talking about how corporate America and whatever America thought about the book, or was that him talking about how he felt? I mean, how they thought about that movie, or was that him talking about how he felt about making that movie?
Yeah, it sounds like it could be him, just because when I looked up the reviews, like I swear, well, you looked it up too. Like the reviews weren't what they make it sound like in the book. They made it sound like everybody hated it, but a lot of people said it was pretty good. You know, like a good love story. You know, so I don't know. Maybe he just
at the time he did say it was like
and in the book he said that he put a ton of his own money into it, and then maybe it just wasn't a big hit. You know, so it seemed like a failure.
Maybe.
Yeah, because he does talk about how he put a lot of his own money funding in the movie.
Yeah.
They also what now go on.
I was gonna say because I think the next thing that we talk about is Charlie Kaufman introducing Mao to him. That's one of the things coming up. Do you have anything that you want to talk about before that?
Let me see.
Mimosa's bomb. Just saying. Because I think the only I don't know. I don't know if there's anything.
I was nothing important. I did talk a little bit about Georgie, how when she's having sex with Jim Carrey, or maybe it's not when she is, but she's thinking about it. That how she wishes, because at this point they're starting to drift from each other, or at least she is. She's talking about how she wished that she almost had a sex robot just so she could stop having sex with Jim. And then it just it made me think of, I just wrote this down, like in reality we only want what we can't have. Once you truly possess something, it just fades. The love fades, and so does the happiness. So, you know, like in the beginning Georgie's all about Jim, you know, and it's like she wants him, but then it's like once she has this great unattainable thing, it starts to lose its interest for her, you know, because it's really only about herself, because then she wants her own thing, you know. It's like she only wanted a way into this world, but just like we said, like Jim uses her too. It's like, and it just made me think, like, I mean, we already talked about this a bunch, but like when you really want something, like once you possess it, it does change the way you look at it, you know.
It's crazy.
So when you know you can't possess it, you know, guys know this, everybody knows this, it makes you want things 10 times more, you know?
That's true.
When you know you can't have it. And then once you have it, it's like, oh, fuck.
That's why girls who play hard to get are the best kind. That's why when a girl don't give it up on the first date, it's the best sex. That's why, you know, I don't know why I keep bringing up this girl metaphor, but that's why, you know, when you ain't smoked weed in 3 days and then you finally take a hit, it's amazing. All that. But that's also a thing, too, that I've learned recently is like, I cannot be happy unless I force myself to do hard shit that is suffering. I have to force myself to do hard shit because I've been basically overstimulating myself by just enjoying life too much. Think about my early 20s. You were there for a lot of it.
Yeah.
I feel like, for me personally, I did not deserve that happiness. And that fucks with my head. That's why towards the end in Coachella, when we were watching Eminem at Coachella, bro, I was sitting there and I could not barely enjoy it. And that fucked with me for years after that. Like, I enjoyed it because, you know, it is what it is. But at the same time, there was so much in me. And even just in festivals in general, towards the end, that was just like, I felt like undeserving. And it made me not be able to appreciate it. And I think that's because I started getting to a point where I couldn't ignorantly enjoy things anymore. I had to make myself feel like I deserved it in order to enjoy it.
But why? You know, I mean, like,
go ahead.
What? The only reason you think you don't deserve it is because of your own idea.
True.
You know.
True.
There's nobody saying you don't deserve this. Like, I think.
But I think that's what matters most. No, is that what you think?
No,
about yourself?
It does for sure. Yeah. Exactly. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, for sure. But so I get it. But no, I definitely get that.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just, and I'm not trying to say that it was like I don't know, something that I wasn't like. I don't know. I still was enjoying it, but it was a mind fuck in the moment. Like, what the fuck? Why am I slowly like just getting so anxious and nervous and not being able to truly get into the moment? And I think it had a lot to do with me trying to pull back on drugs and getting drunk and maybe, you know, certain moments. I don't know. It's a lot of overstimulation, undeserving what I felt like. And not just to bring up the festival things, but just in general life. And that's why I've learned recently, going to work at Amazon and doing all these different things that I'm doing, like as far as like forcing myself to struggle and fucking stay focused. It's like the struggle, the downside, the shit that I don't like, allows me to focus and enjoy the good things now. And it's a balance. Instead of just trying to focus on trying to do everything I can do to have the good, just focusing on the balance of the good and the bad is really truly helped me a lot. And I don't even know how I got into this, but yeah, go.
No, we should read It's a hard read, but The Myth of Sisyphus. Sisyphus is it's a book. It's like a philosophy book about it. But Sisyphus is that, you've heard the story. He's the dude who has to push the boulder up to the top of the hill, and then every night when he gets to the top of the hill, the boulder rolls back down, and he has to do it. And it's like a punishment by the gods. So he does it every day, eternally. But this book is about. It relates that to us, and it's about how life is not supposed to be easy. Yeah. That when you live an easy life, that's where you grow into this dissatisfaction with life. Like, you should be struggling, you should be suffering, but not for suffering's sake, just because I'm sad. You should be suffering for your art. You should be suffering for what you want to build, because it's not supposed to be easy, and if it was easy, you would be dissatisfied with it and want to give it up anyways. Wow. You should struggle, because that struggle in the end, even though tomorrow's going to be the same struggle, that fucking ability to keep yourself moving and keep yourself going, that's like the whole point of life, because life is never supposed to be some fucking walk in the park. Every day is supposed to be misery and suffering, and you're supposed to work your way through that shit every day. And it's better to realize that than try to pretend that it's not that and think that it should be all happy, because you're going to end up more dissatisfied that way. If you go into each day knowing this day is going to be hard, this day is going to be shit, but I'm going to fucking do it no matter what, that you're better off that way, because then you can find some satisfaction when you do it. You know, you'd be like, I knew this was going to be shit, and I still fucking did it. I still fucking went out and suffered, and I still did it. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting, you know, I like that. You know?
Bro, how did you know that concept? Like, what the fuck? That's so beautiful. You just changed my life right now with that. That was beautiful.
dude, it's a good one. When I read it though, I read that book a while ago, and I had to write shit down because I was getting confused. And then I just was like, fuck, dude, that's why I like that metaphor. It's like, it's hard work. He's pushing that boulder up every day, but he realizes he has to do it every day, and that's like life. Every day is a boulder, and you got to just fucking push through it every day, you know? That's better.
By the great words of the greatest rapper of all time, 50 Cent, there wouldn't be no joy if it wasn't for pain.
Yeah. 50, baby. Just end it right there.
Yeah.
50 Cent. No.
Where are we at? If I could, so introduction to Mao. What I wanted to mention before that, this is what I wanted to ask you. One, I have two questions. When is this book in like, you know how it's basically a futuristic setting? What year? When would you say this book is taking place? And two, do you think that Mao and the idea of becoming Mao is based on any sort of movie that he actually did? But yeah.
I don't think so, but dude, I honestly that was one of my favorite parts in the book too. I love the idea of the movie they're talking about making, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, I love how like it's supposed to be reborn in Jim Carrey's mind, and it's like he's, you know, like start shedding himself to become this guy, and like he's gonna destroy Hollywood and shit, you know, to rebuild this better world. Like, dude, I love the way and it's hard to even put it into words. Like, that's why I thought it was even cooler. Like, I was like, this is such a complex idea that seems so simple at first, but then you read it, I was like, man, this would be a really crazy movie, because it's very like complex, you know? Yeah. And it's like going into this character, you know? And then it's like complex in the book too, where Jim Carrey starts becoming this character, like, and it made me think, dude, that must be like, I never really thought about it like too much, but like, you know how like some actors like Christian Bale does it, or like Daniel Day-Lewis or Jim Carrey has done it, where they literally play this character all day. Like, what a radical thing to do to yourself, to just decide, okay, I'm gonna play this character that's completely different than my own personality, but I'm gonna play him to the fullest all the time, where it's almost like it would be scary. Like he talks about Heath Ledger, like that would be scary, to allow yourself to be like that all the time and that dark. Like, that's a place, you know, because of course at first it's acting, but once you're doing it every day for months, when does it become not acting and become, this is, no matter what, you're saying that this is for the role, but you're doing this to the people in your life too. So when does it become not acting? And it's like, I don't know, it started tripping me out, the idea of actors being able to transform themselves. It's a very interesting concept, you know?
Did you
why don't people do that? Like, even if I'm not an actor, why don't I just wake up one day and say, I want to be like the dude in Breaking Bad. I'm going to do that. You know, I'm going to start selling drugs and become this character, you know? Like, what's to stop? any of us from doing that. Nothing really.
Did you
besides
watch
our own selves?
Did you watch the documentary of when
Jim and Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did?
I watched it. I watched it a while ago.
Yeah, me too.
That shit was interesting. Dude, that shit was weird. Like when he was talking to the family, even as that character still, and he was talking to that dude's family. It's like, I don't know if I'd be comfortable with that. You know, if I was his family, like that's a ballsy thing to do.
I think that's that's kind of like you wouldn't in normal situations, but I think because it's Andy Kaufman and Jim Carrey.
And Jim obviously had great respect for him.
Yeah,
I think
they
he wasn't
knew that.
trying to make.
I think they were having fun with it. I think
was.
You could see in the moment they were having fun with it.
They do seem like they like it. It just seems like, but watching it just seems
fine
so
surreal. But I'm
surreal.
sure, like in a deeper level, it's fucking
Yeah,
fun.
dude. The whole,
Walking
even
away
watching
from
on the
that,
docu, even watching it was like surreal to watch. You know. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
when do you think the book is? That's just a question. I just want to when do you think? I know it's in the future, probably.
Oh,
like, do you think it's like far close?
I don't know. I thought
30 years from now.
The way I took it, it seemed like right now, you know, and it's just like.
I think the
or
augmented
maybe,
reality
like,
stuff and all that made it seem like more.
Yeah, but it seemed like though that was a pretty brand new thing that a lot of
True,
people
that could
still
be
didn't
something
know
that they
about,
have
you
now.
know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
like four of those goggles they said or whatever.
Yeah, that's like the way he was talking about it, like something that was maybe already even. Oh, dude, that's fucking. I'm glad we're talking about this.
Yeah.
It's actually interesting. I wanted to bring this up, dude. Okay, because I want you to watch it no matter what, if we do it for the show or not. But BoJack Horseman, they actually do this in BoJack in the third season. He's making this movie Secretariat, and the studio does it. They do all this shit like they do to Jim Carrey. They take all these like things of his face and his likeness and his voice, and then they tell him they do that because in case he dies or he just something happens where he can't finish the movie, they have his whole likeness. And then what ends up happening is he ends up actually taking off because some bullshit, so he actually doesn't finish the movie. They have the artificial intelligence version of him that they created finish the movie, and he actually wins all these awards for it. But he feels weird when he comes back because he has to go to accept the awards, and he's like, but I didn't really do anything, it wasn't me acting. And they're like, just enjoy your moment, you know, like this is your moment. It's still you on the screen, but it's like he didn't actually do that acting. But it's interesting that they talk about that, and that show came out, I mean, it just ended recently.
This
but
is
that season
BoJack
probably
Horseman, the cartoon.
Yeah, dude. Dude, besides the first season and maybe the second where it's kind of funny, dude, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, you'd love it, dude. It's depressing. It deals with depression. It deals with
I'd love that.
fame. dude. It deals with like everything we're talking about. It deals with like the trappings of fame and like relevance and everything. Yeah, it's an amazing show.
Some super
Dude, I did too. And dude, yeah, if you look it up, dude, people say it's like one of the best cartoons like ever made. Like now. It just ended recently, and it was amazing ending. But anyways, like it's interesting because that came out a couple years ago, that episode, and they're talking about exactly what Jim Carrey's talking about in here. So I'm like, dude, I wonder if they've already done this to actors, you know? Like, I mean, not that anything we've seen them in yet, but I'm saying, like, I wonder if this is something they're already working on, you know? Because then it's like you live forever, you know?
Yeah.
You can make movies forever. You'll never have to work again, really, like, you know? Like, because it is like, I mean, you see it all the time. It is like the rich stay rich, the powerful stay powerful, the big names stay big. Yeah. So it's like it would make sense that they would move into this. Yeah. Then you never have to find new actors. You never have to pay another Jim Carrey because Jim Carrey's here forever with us. So we never have to replace him.
We're not far from that, I don't think, especially in movies.
Yeah, dude, it's interesting to think about that, you know? And it's dude, they're actually making a movie with the AI. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No.
It got swept under the rug. It was around the same time the Alien thing came out. I forgot what studio's doing it. They're making a movie and the main character is all artificial intelligence. Wow. And they're going to act it. But I was thinking, how does that...
what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how does that work? So if they're all
is
AI...
Is it a cartoon?
No, it's gonna be a movie with a AI. Like, have you seen that AI girl? That one?
Oh,
yeah. It's gonna be something like that. But dude, it's weird because like, not even just the weirdness of that together, but how does an AI that doesn't have any real emotions? Because technically, you wouldn't have emotions, you know, if you're a computer. How can they act? Because that means they'd have to be faking emotions. And if they can fake emotions, that means they can lie. So if they can lie, then that means we're already fucked, right? If these, and they're computers, because like that's the whole thing in iRobot, you know? They're not supposed to lie. But in an iRobot, he's able to lie. And that's like the first step to like them becoming. And think about it, like if an AI can act, that means he can fake an emotion that's not his. If he can fake an emotion, that's a lie.
Is it acting, or is it just propped up and designed to do certain movements and go with the scene? That's the question. Is it actually fucking artificially intelligently acting, or is it just propped up and just the thing on the scene that on the screen that's being used to make the movie and making the movements? That's the question.
Dude, I'm literally looking it up right now just because.
So yeah, I don't know. One thing that I did want to mention before I forget, there's this show with Paul Rudd where he has like a clone of himself.
Yeah.
That it has a lot. Like you were talking about how like that. What are you saying that somebody? There was that show where his likeness. He had to come back and get the awards for his likeness. It's basically the same thing. Yeah, they basically he goes to a store and they download his likeness into a fucking clone, and his clone is like 10 times better than him in every way. Smarter, more compassionate, starts going to his job and like getting him all these raises and shit like that. And he like basically is trying to get his life back from that clone because he's supposed to be dead. And the clone, it's basically like you go to upgrade your life, but you die and the clone of you takes over your life. But for some reason, he didn't die and he comes out of the grave.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious. I watched the whole season in like one night.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, you'll like it. You'll like it.
Let me see. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I found it. Happy Moon Productions and 1010 Global Media are putting forward $70 million to produce a science fiction movie that is set to star the AI robot Erica in the leading roles. The company's touting the movie as the first movie in history to be led by an actor who is an AI robot. And that they're teaching the robot method acting right now.
No.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so it says in other methods of acting. In other methods of acting, actors involve their own life experiences in the role, this guy said. But Erica has no life experiences. She was created from scratch to play this role. So we had to simulate her motions and emotions through one-on-one sessions, such as controlling the speed of her movement, talking through her feelings, and coaching character development and body language. So that's what I'm saying, dude. If they're doing this, that means this robot is learning and that it could lie, right? Because, dude, if you're faking emotions that don't exist, that's a lie, right? That's technically falls under the umbrella. So if they can lie, then they can hide things, you know? And if they're obviously going to be smarter than us, dude, it's a trip. Wow. Yeah, I found that. It's on IndieWire, right? Yeah, IndieWire, which is a fucking really famous website, like, you know? But yeah, so
that's just terrifying, man. They just installed the Neuralink scary. And shit. They just did that Neuralink. And we ain't talked about Neuralink, have we?
Nah.
Let's not get into that, bro. Fuck that shit. Yeah, hold on. That's a good time to break. Let me take a piss real quick.
All right, yeah.
I'm right here. I don't know why right now, but my camera looks so good. I look like I'm on like. It's like my lighting looks amazing. Holy shit!
I think it's just you.
I'm glowing.
You got that glow. Yeah, and that new home glow.
That's right.
No, the lighting is good in that room.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, man. I guess let's get back into it. Yeah. This shit is like blowing my mind.
This is a really good podcast.
Yeah, chapter 6. We were going through that, but I'm gonna just read the synopsis that I had. Watching. This is where he's watching the Mao videos with Kaufman and Hopkins. Let's see. And then also at the end of this chapter, he has the dream of his family being eaten by the factory, which is obviously a metaphor for, like, I'm guessing, like, work and, like, how, like, you know, the factories work life like it does. It eats people alive, you know? Which is interesting because, you know, you look at his job, which is not a 9 to 5, and it eats him alive too, which brings you back to the same point that everything's pretty much, you know, it's so crazy to think about. The second you're born, you're already starting to die. You're already starting to age and get closer to death, you know? Yep. Like what they say, the beginning really is the start of the end, you know? Like it is. Like, that's what it is. Like, it's the beginning of the end, you know? It's not really a beginning. But,
let me just say that I really fucking... The first time I listened, because I think it's interesting to say that I listened to the audiobook at first with the voice of Jeff Daniels. Jeff Daniels. Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you said Jeff Bridges.
No, Jeff Daniels, the dude,
Okay.
Dumb and Dumber dude.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Makes
and I
sense.
think that's what I should have mentioned that in the beginning, but I think it's worth mentioning now specifically because it was an entire different experience listening, because he would do voices and he would do accents and things like that, and the way he emphasized the words, it was very, very immersive because of his performance as a reader. I think that especially during the Rodney Dangerfield part,
Yeah.
it was better in the audiobook than reading it, because he did the Rodney Dangerfield accent and voice and the way he emphasized the words and stuff.
I could really see the whole book being better that way,
Yeah.
just because
Yep.
of the actors too. That's why I was saying like if they were able to make a movie and get all these actors in it, like it could be really fucking amazing.
If they could even,
it could be like on a
I
whole
feel
different
like
level.
probably half of what's in the book would end up to the movie, and they probably
And it would be amazing. Though,
No,
you
it
know?
would. It would
The
be
book's
amazing.
so dense, There's so many ideas going
Exactly.
around, like,
Yeah.
and I feel like where Jim Carrey's at now in his career, and like it could just be amazing.
He mentioned
And
he
hasn't
mentioned
been
that he
in
wouldn't
anything.
play himself. He said that he would play his dad, Percy.
Oh, that
In
makes
the
sense. To have
interview.
somebody
Yeah,
else.
he
play
said he'd
him.
have somebody else play him for sure. He said and when they mentioned it to him in the interview about making it into a movie, him and Dana Vachon looked both like, oh yeah, that's gonna happen. It looked,
Oh yeah, dude!
for sure.
I can imagine, dude. Like it has to happen.
Yeah,
Like
they-
it's literally. I feel like this reads more, especially the second half. Maybe the first half reads like a book. The second half reads like a fucking script. It's very descriptive.
Yeah.
Everything's happening. You see the actions, the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see it in my head already. Like, and I could see it being like both like drama and amazing, and at the same time fucking hilarious. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it could be so good.
If they can
It'd
get
be
Kanye
great,
and
dude.
Kim to play those parts,
Dude, if they could get everybody, if they could get Sean Penn to play himself, Tom
Nicolas
Hanks.
Cage would be the most important to play himself too. If they can
Dude,
get
I
Nick
really like
Cage-
Tom Hanks too. I like
Tom
how
Hanks
Tom
was
Hanks
good,
is
yeah.
so cool. Yeah, I like how he's all fucking chill
Even
about
Steven
everything.
Spielberg was dope. I liked fucking Quentin Tarantino's parts were amazing.
Oh, dude, I know.
Yeah.
If they could just get everybody, like, dude, it could be really great.
Could be, man. For
Yeah.
real. Yeah, but I do want to say too that I thought that having Anthony Hopkins and Jim and Charlie Kaufman, right, who's in the room with them, all that entire thing, it could be like its own little movie in my opinion.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Damn, bro, you
she's
got
trying to
that.
get me
You got
drunk.
that. You got that. She's trying to take advantage of you. You got that service, bro. That hotel service.
Guess so. Thank you, babe. Yeah, so I love the scene. I think that it could be its own little movie. Them just in the room trying to become Mao and teaching him and screaming at him, and then getting to know Anthony Hopkins. I don't know how much of that was real. I'm sure not much of it, but just the idea of Anthony Hopkins just being this like also struggling older man trying to find his way and stuff like that. And Anthony Hopkins is such a fucking image and figure that I could just totally imagine all the things he was saying and just hear his voice. And fucking I just watched Red Dragon the other night, which is an amazing fucking movie, fucking, by the way.
I haven't seen that shit in a long time with Edward Norton.
Yeah,
That shit's crazy.
great movie.
Yeah. It's crazy.
You know what we need to do too, just real quick, during October we got to do a bunch of scary movies or scary shit.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, you never seen fucking... Oh, dude, we should do like a combination. Dude, we should do Hereditary and Midsommar, dude. Like, we should just...
Yeah, so
dude,
that you do those two, and then I'll choose two, and then I'll be the month of October.
Yeah, and Hereditary and Midsommar are both actually
I've never
they're
seen
by
those.
the same they're by the same director. So
Oh,
if anything,
okay.
we should do this. And he only has those two movies. That's all he's done so far.
Oh, yeah.
So like, if anything, we should just do like an episode, I guess maybe on him, and then it'll be those two movies. Because like I feel like if we do the two movies together, it'd be better than the one movie separately.
True,
You know?
true, that'd be
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm down.
But
Oh,
I guess we're getting sidetracked.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, sorry, Anthony Hopkins is really good. I really like the moments in the hotel room, them screaming, trying to get Jim into the character
Yeah.
of Mao, how hard it was. I like that whole concept.
No, yeah, this is one of my favorite parts with this leading up into I think the next it's either the next chapter or the one after with the party where he has a party at his house. Like that's one of my favorite chapters too.
And then
But,
after this, you said the dream of the Fun Factory. That was a really deep moment.
and yeah, that's what I had too. The family though, even though they're being eaten in that dream, the brother and the dad both seem more happy than Jim Carrey. who's actually like acting, and the brother even says something about it because Jim Carrey's being like needy and insecure, and it's like and it's like the family who's being eaten by this factory are better, and it's like if you think about it, like it is interesting, you know, like of course their life sucked too and they were eaten by the machine, but it seemed like they were happier with their hard struggle work than Jim Carrey is happy with all this leisure time. True. Which has brought us back to that thing I was talking about Sisyphus and what you were saying. It feels better to have a hard day and make it through it than it does to just go through every day doing nothing. You know? Yeah,
it's crazy. So I also so after this, Jim masturbates to a deep fake of 2 lesbian sisters with his face, then decides to go.
That's literally the next thing I have written on my paper, bro. I was just about to say, all right, the next one, he masturbates to himself. Dude, I thought that was like. That's like, you know, that's like the tip of vanity. You know?
Yeah,
like
it is.
Gets, like, that's like the most vain you could be, that you'd masturbate to a girl version of yourself. Yeah. Which I was wondering, like, you know, if I shave my beard off and keep my long hair,
let me share a story with you. Let me share a story.
Might be able to go to town on myself.
So once upon a time, I was, you know, in the web. You're looking for some stuff, you know, little spanking, little stuff.
No love, deep web, bro.
You know, I ended up watching a clip. This was years ago, and as the clip went on, the camera peered up, and it was a man. It was a she-male porn I was watching on accident. I didn't know till halfway through.
How did you not know?
I just didn't know. It didn't say nothing in the title. Then all of a sudden, I looked, and the camera panned up, and it was a man. It was a man male. It was a she-male. That was upsetting. Another story I can share with you. Once upon a time, I found.
Wait. Did you finish?
No. I don't think I went celibate after that for a few weeks. Nah, never happened. I think I just changed. I just went to another video. But then I thought about it. You know,
me neither. Me neither. I mean, me too.
So also, second story. One time I watched a clip, and it was a couple females. One of the females had a big old strap-on dick and was fucking the other one. And I low-key was like, okay, this ain't weird. This is cool. Then I got into it, and then I started realizing I was sexually attracted to the person with the dick who was doing the fucking.
No, for sure, dude. Yeah.
That alone, like, was like, oh, I can't be. You're not supposed to be attracted to the thruster. You're not supposed to be attracted to the thruster.
That's true, but
that's what was weird. You're not supposed to be attracted to the person with the dick fucking.
I don't know. This is too deep for me now.
I'm just saying. I'm just sharing the stories.
Next time I see one of these videos, I'm gonna take a second.
Oh, you like the strap off videos? I see.
I like the girls who fucking with each other.
No, I do. But to look up at the thruster, it's the person in the power position, and you're like into it.
To look up at the thruster.
It's not.
I mean, it wasn't a dick, you know. Like you could see that it's not a dick. It's a different color than her body.
But just to be attracted to
the thruster,
the power player. Power player. It's rough. It's weird. So yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. I like after this. I believe that. He goes to Wendy's instead of. No, I don't think he comes. He doesn't come when he's jacking off.
He doesn't.
He decides to go to Wendy's instead. Just before the breakthrough, he needed to finally become Mao. So he went to Wendy's and got like 7 chicken sandwiches or whatever, and just gorged himself.
That sounded bomb though. Those chicken sandwiches.
I did.
When I was reading it, I was like, shit. I was like, I want to go get one.
I don't even. It's like I rarely think about how, like, if you get a bunch of fast food and you just chow down on that shit, like a bunch of it, you kind of feel high. Like you're like,
like how he said he wanted to eat himself in a stupor. Yeah. Like, dude, like I've done that before. Yeah. Like while I'm high, like you know, I eat so much and I'm like,
just knock out.
You know. It's true. People do that, dude. Too. Dude, people overweight people do that. Like, it becomes a problem. You know.
That's true.
I could see it. I could.
Hell yeah! No, I totally see it.
I'm gonna have to get that chicken sandwich though.
I also like the fantasy of Jim as Mao destroying Los Angeles after he like becomes Mao. He has this fantasy of him like marching through the streets and commanding his warriors to destroy people and kill the fucking police and all this shit. And also kind of like it kind of like coincides with what's going on now. It was kind of a wild moment of Jim's vanity and everything else, and his power, his want for power, just being expressed in this like dreamlike scenario of him as Mao commanding these people through the streets of Los Angeles. I thought that was super like visual and dope to hear.
No, yeah, dude, I like that. Let me see.
I think now we're at the dinner party.
Oh, he says actually something at the end of that though. The end of chapter 7. He says oh wait. Maybe this is chapter 8 actually.
Yeah, and at this point I'm just on my notes. I don't even know what chapter we're on. So
you know what's so funny is this is actually I have I think like 10, 11, 12 I have like synopsis, but right here from here on it's just notes for a little bit too. The next thing I have is we spend all our lives pursuing something as empty as relevance, and then they use our fear of losing it to control us. Oh, dude, that's what I want to bring up. They do that to Jim Carrey when they want him to take the role, and then they say, like, okay, if we just don't talk to him and deny him compliments for 2 days, that he'll give in, you know? And I was like, dude, that's crazy, you know? Like, I like how it's like almost like a science. Like, they say that earlier, too, or when he's trying to do different things, they bring up Vegas, like, oh, you don't want to end up in Vegas, Jim, like Elvis, and like,
this is when he's
same show.
This is when he's considering doing the Hippos movie, right?
Yeah. So, But I think I might have passed up, huh? I think
that's
I might have passed up the party. Yeah, the party, dude. I love the party.
Yeah, it's really cool
with the Mickey Mouse cake, and I like how I just like all the characters dialoguing, and then I love Jim Carrey's speech about destroying everything, and then. Dude, I like how they all take Molly, and then they like fucking have the 3-way. Like it's just like, it's like how I envision LA life, you know?
Yeah,
like that's exactly what I envisioned when I read it. Yeah, it's like this is exactly how I see these Hollywood parties being. You know,
his speech is so fucking amazing, dude. His speech is where he talks as Mao, and then he starts to kind of get into the accent of Mao, and I think that whole idea, which is dope. Yeah,
I like how they go into that though. I read that actually when I was reading about this book a little bit. How they talk about cultural appropriation and like how like they're like it's kind of so okay in Hollywood. Like now it's becoming a little different, but like the fact that they would even consider Jim Carrey playing this Asian man, this Chinese man, But it's so funny though because if you look up until like maybe not even like 5 years ago, like everything before that, like was constantly like that,
What's his name?
It was always
Asian?
whitewashed,
your boy, Laserjack.
No, we did not. I just watched that again. The Last Samurai. Nah, he's not Asian though.
What?
He's a drunken U.S. soldier who's actually against the samurais, but then he ends up going over there, and then he ends up training with them and helping them, but he ends up being the only one who doesn't die, so that's why he's the Last Samurai. I'm not gonna lie, dude, I remember loving
you had that locked and loaded. You were ready for that. You're like, no, he's not. No, he didn't.
Dude, I used to love that movie, fan, bro. And then I hadn't seen it in a long time, and then I remember thinking, and I wanted to show Frankie, and because she hadn't seen it, and I remember thinking like, fuck, dude, like this does sound dumb, like The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. But then when we watched it, I was like, okay, I was like, I remember it wasn't like that. I was like, yeah, so it's pretty good, dude. Have you ever seen it?
I think maybe back in the day, but I don't know.
Oh, dude, I watched it recently. It's really fucking good still. Like it really holds up,
Oh yeah.
So don't come after Laser Jack like that, right?
My bad. I think it's worth noting that Georgie is introduced to Quentin Tarantino at the party. Quentin Tarantino talks about how he's a big fan of hers and stuff like that. Loki, I think he might. I don't think Quentin Tarantino wants to fuck her. I think he probably does, but that's not why he doesn't like want. He doesn't hire her because he wants to fuck her. He hires her because he wants to fuck her, but he doesn't at the same time. He doesn't actually want to, but he does because he does. Does that make sense?
I think he thinks she's extremely attractive and beautiful
and badass,
and that's why he wants her.
Yeah.
But yeah, Quentin Tarantino also comes off as the type of guy that's like just super eccentric, like maybe he's into sex, but that's not really the main thing on his mind,
he
he
might
wouldn't
think
you're
even be
sexy,
down.
but it'd be like
he wouldn't be down,
but probably very controlling too, very like meticulous.
Like he
yeah.
might bust
like
a nut just by like making her
just
do
looking at
something in a scene.
just exactly. Yeah, like sex isn't interesting. Like
Yeah.
if she kills somebody in the right way,
Yeah.
it's like, oh yes, yeah.
She has a
Yeah.
fucking look in her eye a certain way. He's just
Yeah,
busting.
I love Quentin Tarantino
Yeah,
in this
he's
shit.
dope.
Like
He's
I love
good.
how wild he seems. Like he seems like that's exactly how I picture him being.
Yeah.
You know, all the time. Like just like super off the walls. You know.
It's
But
also
I guess that's how you'd have to be. You know.
it's true to be that type of.
That's what I was
director.
thinking when I was reading some of these personalities. I was like, dude, that's why I could see why these people are famous. Like that's
Yeah.
how you have to be. Like just so fucking sure and
Yeah.
full of yourself. You know,
True.
which isn't necessarily a bad thing because Quentin Tarantino seems dope. You know,
Yeah,
but
his art is amazing.
But I mean, at the same time, it is a bad thing. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
As a
like,
human.
yeah. Like
But you
have
know
to
what?
be-
Whatever. Sometimes you
have
got to
be
do
that,
some
though.
bad shit to just achieve greatness.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Look at my boy Mal.
Yeah.
I think it's also worth noting Georgie and Jim meet and begin their affair with the Marilyn Monroe impersonator known as Helena, and then who we also come to find whose true name is Celeste.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yes,
they meet her there. They start smashing, and I thought that was it's kind of like I never really read a book with sexual moments. I kind of gotta admit, got a couple chubs reading this book. You know,
Hey, bro, this ain't nothing. I've read some books, bro, and they
Yeah?
get into it, and I'm like, goddamn, like I could totally see like back in the day before there was like pornography, like
Yeah.
and just written. I bet you motherfuckers masturbated while reading books,
Dude.
Like, dude, some of the books are like I've read some shit, and I know there's other books that are actually about that stuff, and like I don't read that, but I've read books that have stuff like that and that are pretty intense, like sex scenes, and like, yeah, dude, I'm like, oh shit, like,
What the fuck? That's crazy.
I'm like,
No.
I'm reading the same thing over and over again, like, faster and shit. You know,
That's it. You have an audiobook at 2 times speed and just like
audio
on loop.
2 times the. Nah, dude, yeah. Honestly, that 3-way scene too, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
dope. It's like, okay, I never really, dude. This is like I low key
thought I was
feel,
at Coachella, had that tent, bro.
I low key feel like I learned to read books again after this book, and that's kind of like one of the reasons I was I don't know, I just really enjoyed this book because it was really a cool introduction into reading an actual book again. I've been doing audiobooks for a year or 2 now, pretty consistently, but to read was like also this aspect of like, oh, this is it's a different thing than audiobooks, a different thing than a movie
Yeah.
or show, a book is a book.
Next time I come over, I'm gonna just bring some books.
Yeah,
Leave 'em
fuck
with
yeah,
you.
dude. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Fuck yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you the Bible. I'm gonna bring you the Quran.
I've been thinking about we should do a mind control of the Bible.
Dude. Hey, that should be dense. That'd
That'd
be
be
like,
so sick.
like
That'd be sick.
3 episodes.
Get
4
all
episodes.
fucked up. Get all fucking fucked up.
Get all fucked up and talk about the Bible. I'm down for it.
Hell yeah. All right. So after they meet her, right when Georgie's starting to kind of get sick of Marilyn or whatever, or Helena, she ends up getting a text or a message from Quentin Tarantino that she wants to do the, interview or whatever. She fucks up by doing some fucking plastic surgery shit, but still ends up going to the interview and embarrassing herself. And it's kind of like a really cool moment. I really like this scene and kind of like this is all in one chapter, I think, from the beginning of the dinner party, maybe a little bit after that. But it's one big chapter in the middle from when Georgie and Jim meet Marilyn or Helena to the point where she kills herself. It's all in one chapter, which is wild. And I remember when I listened to the audiobook, I felt like it was multiple chapters that I heard this on. It just felt dense, but it's definitely I really liked the scene by the pool with Quentin Tarantino. He's like supportive, but not like bullshitting, and like basically says, whatever, that's it. And it's kind of like such a like you get to know Georgie in a way, and it's like it feels like kind of like her whole life this is all she wanted. It led up to this moment, and her vanity and her bullshit fucked it up. And it was like I felt like a deep connection to that. Like there's been so many moments I feel like I've lived through that were just like that.
Dude, a lot of people get opportunities, and I bet you it's. I wonder if there's like a percentage on that. I don't know how you would do that, but like, bet you most people fuck it up. Like, yeah, dude, that shit was kind of sad.
Yeah,
know?
it was kind of sad.
And then after she comes home to find out Jim Carrey was fucking that bitch.
Yeah, and that's another scene too. Yeah, when she pulls up and she's like, call me Celeste, and she starts crying, and Jim's like,
and then
there's nothing. Love has nothing to do with this. He says to her.
Oh yeah, he's being honest though. Yeah, you know,
I liked that whole scene. It was really beautiful. It gave me a chub as she popped in. He starts talking about titties and stuff like that. I was like, okay, hello.
I love this scene. Give me a chub. I like just so nonchalant. We're gonna have to start saying that when we read books. Yeah.
Give me a little chub.
Man, give me a chub.
Reading the Bible. Give me a little chub.
I give that two chubs up. That'll be our rating system at the end. This book gets 2 chubs.
We did a whole do a whole other fucking podcast, bro. Dick control. We just started giving chub reviews.
We'll just it'd be like Rotten Tomatoes. Is 2 chubs, 2 chubs up.
Holy
yeah, I'm
shit.
gonna give that one a half a chub.
Didn't really get 2 chub.
Yeah, I was pretty. That one's soft. But let me see what else happened.
So yeah, you said Georgie comes home. She sees the camera footage. She finds Jim lying. This is a very all-in-one chapter. I think this whole part is kind of like a. Is there like a part in the middle of a story that's kind of like the climax? It's like I think in the middle of a book or a story, there's like a. It's not a climax, but it's like. There's always like this like thing in like plays and stuff where it's like it's like a big moment that happens in the middle. And I think
this is like that big moment. Yeah, because everything kind of changes after that.
Yeah, when Georgie leaves, everything falls apart kind of slowly in a way.
Yeah. And then let's see.
But Georgie takes the painting, and that's how
she takes the painting. Yeah. And then, I mean, do you have anything else interesting about all this?
No, just not that part.
Nah, I'm down to move in. Yeah, I'm down to move into like the fucking. Then he ends up because the Mal movie falls through.
Because, does it fall through, or what happens?
Or they don't get the fun. They don't get the funding for.
Yeah, because she ends up killing herself. It's a big old scene, and his split with Georgie is a big thing, and it fucks up everything. Big thing.
Yeah, and then Charlie Kaufman already, I think, was having issues getting money for it. And
might not even have been real. I think we find out eventually.
Yeah. So then, and then after he goes and he takes the hippopotamus movie, which is
which has a lot into it too. Yeah,
dude, I feel like that. Everything changes completely, like at this point in the book,
Yeah.
When he goes to that. Let's see what happens though. There's something else that happens before that I want to talk.
So real quick, I will mention though, in the moment, basically right after she takes the painting, the next chapter, there's a scary moment with Jim and his agents, and they're presenting this, telling him basically how much he's fucked up and how it's going to be really hard to come back. And they present this idea of this Hungry Hippos movie in digital 3D. And they basically start, it's kind of becomes like a bad dream and a nightmare, because the way he describes it is his agents around him start like circling him and pushing him towards the wall and telling him over and over, the star feeds the system feeds the star. And they're almost like, it's it's portrayed as a chant. Maybe that's just how I'm remembering it.
No, that is. Yeah.
And it's kind of like, this is kind of another moment where I'm like, oh, this is a fucking trip. This is a bad dream. This is like, the whole dream, the whole time. It talks about, even towards the end, when the UFOs are around, they talk about a Netflix red aura in the sky.
Oh,
and things like, there's like little moments that they bring up that really make me feel like this man's just having a fucking lucid dream in watching Netflix.
The whole time that he's been in his bed.
Yeah. And he's just thinking about his life, and it's all fucking fluctuating with his dream and shit like that. And maybe there's somebody next to him, and at the end, that's who's shushing him.
Maybe.
That's what I thought. Maybe that's too early to bring up, but that's kind of what I took it from it.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. They're like, shh. It's just a dream. He's having next to maybe Renee.
Yeah, because you're right. Because the beginning of the book starts out him watching Netflix. Yeah. The middle of the book, they talk about it again while because they snap back to it.
Yeah.
Because that's all him thinking about what happened. And then at the end, when the alien thing happens, he's watching Netflix again, and then everything happens, Or like he's in his bed again. Yeah, that's true. It's true. Interesting.
Yeah.
Curious. Curious. All right, the rest of my notes are on my phone now.
Okay. I put Jim seems to fall into a deep after he accepts the role. Is this when he? No. It said I put Jim seems to fall into a deep dark pit of depression and retrospective contemplation. Jim seems to metaphorically be preparing himself to commit suicide of his soul when his daughter and his grandson appear to him. He realizes he needs to go on and continue living for them, and then he eventually takes the role in Hungry Hippos.
Mm-hmm.
After, they kind of present themselves to him. And in a way, he talks about it in one of the interviews. He feels like his daughter and his grandson are low-key kind of like guardian angels throughout the book. And they kind of guide him the right way a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he did this for them and he said that they're kind of like angels, in my opinion, made it feel like, because he was ready, it sounded like he was ready to die in that moment. And or just kind of like stop giving a fuck and just be like, fuck it. But
yeah.
So
and then they came,
and that's the end. He says, "I'll take hippos," and they say, "I'm glad you changed your mind," and he says, "I didn't."
Yeah, and then he does the hippos with, and then Rodney Dangerfield ends up, who is dead by the way, ends up playing the rhino because they have his essence.
So
already.
Let me lead us into that because I have a few notes.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I put Jim is driven into the desert and introduced to the TPG facility. Jim meets I don't know if TPG is right. That sounds wrong, but I think that is right. Jim meets the director of Hippos, Lanny Lonstein, who ends up becoming a really pivotal character towards the end of the book, or the second, or like towards the end of the book. Lonstein tells Jim that he wants to tell the story, The Epic of Gilgamesh, through hippos. Jim is given one of only 4 extremely expensive augmented reality goggles. Jim enters Hippopotama and meets Rodney the Rhino. For a month, they go on an adventure. Then the director says, that's a wrap, and it's all over. I think that this is one of the moments in the book that is 10 times better in the audiobook because of Jeff Daniels.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. The ending feels like it all should be like a movie. Because the first part is very, I don't know how to describe it, but it just feels more appropriate for a book. And the last half with all this, it feels like a movie, because it's very descriptive. Like the rest of the book actually is like that, It's very descriptive of the world he's living in and with the hippos, and then this whole thing that happens with Rodney Dangerfield, and even him, like them allowing him to grow close to him, like for the movie's purposes, they let him grow close to this essence that is essentially fake, you know. But it's so realistic and close to Rodney Dangerfield and knows things that Rodney knew that, Jim's like actually falls for it, it'd be hard not to. And then they only do this though so they could yank it away at the end, kill Rodney, and then it's just like the Truman Show, dude. Exactly like the Truman Show. Just so they could see, like with his dad, like just so they could see the pain and record it and get a real performance. And it's like, fuck, dude, like, like, I don't know. Just makes you think about all that shit, like, I don't know. Where does it cross the line, Like,
doesn't this just sound like a dream,
intense.
That it could be that he's having?
No, it does, dude. This whole part was weird to me. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Especially the first time. The second time, I was like, okay, I know what's coming up. Let me pay attention. But the first time, I was like, whoa, how did I end up here?
I specifically
from
remember
where I was at.
Yeah, I specifically remember being super stoned for the end of this book, and I was at work, but I was very faded. And I was really, I think that allowed me to be more immersed into it. And then plus his accent, when Rodney Dangerfield talks, Jeff Daniels does a Rodney Dangerfield accent. And it just changes a bit of it, It makes it feel a little bit more like, I don't know, just like believable, not even believable, just fun, I guess. And I'm like, and I really honestly, and I really fucking tripped out and enjoyed the aspect of like, they're going to eventually make movies in this augmented reality, artificial reality environment where they can basically over a course of a few months record multiple movies and sequels and then continue to live through that. And then, and eventually they won't even need that dude or Jim Carrey, who's said to be sleeping inside the facility and like on a cot, and they won't need him to, which is basically sounds like a slave at this point. And it's just, it's a wild concept and something, honestly, I think is probably not that far away from being actual reality. So it's wild.
Yeah. No, that's what I was saying about like the BoJack and like how they brought it up already. Like it'll probably happen soon. I mean, we might not know about it, but it'll probably happen.
Yeah.
Could be already happening.
Could be. Like you said, I wrote Jim asks to keep it running after they end it because he gets real sad because he misses Rodney. And they say, okay, Jim begins a dialogue with the essence of Rodney Dangerfield. Rodney talks about Jim's dad and gives insight and also a hilarious moment about his asshole or lack thereof, which I thought was really funny. Jeff Daniels did a good job of delivering that. It was so funny.
Yeah, no, see, I need to listen to it. I probably will still.
Yeah, you should, man. You should. It's really, just audiobooks in general are a lot. They're cool. They're fun. I put Jim, and then Jim watches CNN from his sleeping quarters at the facility where a very Trump-like president is described. There's mention of a New York Times article about UFOs. And eventually he goes back into Hippopotama. There's a hyena attack. Rodney gets gutted. The hyena queen pulls up and Rodney dies very slowly and horrifically. Jim eventually says, like, this is too much. But they wanted that. Jim blows up, but inevitably is told they have everything they need for the movie and all the sequels. And if he agrees, his legacy will last forever. Jim wakes up at his home with it on fire and can't tell if it's real or not because the last thing he remembers is being in the desert. So this is kind of where it's kind of like a second act or third act, fourth act, whatever. And then when it gets really wild. As his house is burning down, he's attacked by a mountain lion. His dogs, Joffiel, protect him and kill the mountain lion, which is a fucking wild ass scene. Jim is thinking about different things he wants to save in his house. Yeah. And he saves Charlie Chaplin's cane, which he feels is the most prized possession he has there, which I think says a lot about himself. And which
is interesting. That's what I thought was interesting too, because I felt like it almost like it told me a lot. Because that is true. I don't know if you saw on Twitter, he posted something and he actually had the cane, Jim Carrey. I meant to send it to you. I forgot. Yeah, he read that little. He read that little part, like a little just paragraph, and then he had the cane, like because like it has a real thing. But I don't know. I felt like it made me see a lot more like where his acting style came from, like him talking about that. Because like that shit didn't. I'd never watched Charlie Chaplin, but it didn't have sound, so I could. And I've seen like pieces, so I can imagine it was all super expressive, and that's how like Jim Carrey always acted. Like especially Ace Ventura, very like facial, like the expressions were almost stronger than the words sometimes. Yeah. So it's like it's interesting. I like that. That's like. That's what I mean. Like, that's why the book's so cool. Like, I like that there's a lot of pieces of reality in there mixed in with, obviously, fantasy, And, like, really so cool. It's,
I was also shocked, and I'd be curious to know if there's a reason why Robin Williams wasn't brought up at all, or how Robin Williams and Jim Carrey are connected, or who inspired who came first. I don't really know who's even older.
They are pretty similar, huh?
They're very similar. I always think about them as like very similar. Always.
Robin Williams is for sure older, probably before. Yeah.
Do you know Robin Williams used to steal jokes?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, as a stand-up comedy. He was amazing. I'm not meaning to say that, talk shit at all, but he's fucking amazing. But he didn't steal jokes on some bullshit though. He eventually started paying people that if he used their jokes, he would pay them. So it wasn't. Yeah, I think it began as something that was kind of like shitty, but then he started being like, okay, I'll pay you. So that's worth it. I don't know. I love Robin Williams. Love him. Yeah.
I love Robin.
I love that guy. A tree falls on his house, trapping him. And the daughters of an enemy or Anami save him. They're amazing, these daughters of Anami. I think they're really cool. I think it's kind of a weird concept. I don't know where they came from or who they are, what they're supposed to stand for, but it's really cool. It's just basically, for people who are listening to the podcast, it's just a bunch of girls who are like war veterans who are missing limbs and shit, and they're just basically going around in like a Humvee saving people. They save Jim Carrey. Nick Cage texts Jim in the back of the van where they're basically kidnapping Jim Carrey. And they have nowhere to go. Where they're planning to go is basically on fire. Where the girls are planning to go is basically done and gone. Nick Cage tells them that, so they end up going where Nick Cage is, which is Jim Carrey's Malibu home, where Nick had asked Jim if he could stay for a few days. So they end up going back to Jim's Malibu home. Good.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I love when they get to the home and like they're fucking assembling missiles. Nicolas Cage has like mines set up and like. He's all ready for war, dude. Let me see. I'm pretty sure that's what I was looking. I have everything else written on my phone because sometimes, dude, like I hate fucking copying from the book into my notebook because like I'm trying to hold both open at the same time. And I'm like, so then it's easier on a phone. Let me see. Where am I?
Have you seen that movie with with Seth Rogen and all those guys where it's like they all play themselves and it's like the end of the world?
Oh yeah. That's what this reminds me of, dude. Yeah.
A lot.
This is the end.
Yeah, this is the end. Yeah.
Let's see.
You know, Nico's never seen Borat.
I love Nico. Nico never seen Borat.
Bro, I gotta hit him. I told him, I'm like, oh, me and Corey gonna take you. We're gonna see Borat. So it's a
Dude, maybe I don't have anything written right here about this shit. I mean, I have written. Oh wait. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay. No. Wait. Okay, never mind. This isn't. I think it's the next chapter when they all fucking talk and they give their like end speeches, like how they'd go out. You know, they all try to top. It's.
Oh yeah,
I think it's the next chapter.
That's
Yeah. That dude, I fucking love that part.
That's a good part.
Yeah. That's I think the next chapter. But yeah, dude, the daughters was weird for me. I was kind of confused at first what was going on with that and how they were like kidnapping him and shit. But yeah, no, dude, I love once they get to his house and they meet up with everybody. Oh, dude, I fucking love though, which is coming up, so I'm just gonna bring it up when John Travolta has the wig that's called Hiroshima.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I was fucking cracking up at the Hiroshima shit. Like it was like a super strong wig or something.
I feel like there could be a whole nother book or movie or whatever based on this that from Nicolas Cage's perspective.
Dude, Nicolas Cage is the fucking best.
So, go ahead. Go ahead if you have.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Say, UFOs begin to pop up everywhere, emitting a rose gold glow. Very, very reminiscent of what Jim used to say his aura was. By the way.
Oh, nice! You're right. I didn't even notice that.
So there's a lot of colorful aspects in the book. I mean, yeah, just like a lot of his movies or whatever. It's a rose gold glow that is beautiful looking and sounding. I love that idea. I've always thought this is basically kind of like taken straight from the Bible, that there's these horns trumpeting, and that there's just like maybe that's the only thing that's really from the Bible, this horns and trumpets sounding. But this idea that these UFOs begin to emit this sound and this beautiful looking glow to them that just feels like salvation pouring over humans, just sounds so like revelations in the Bible.
And it's supposed to be that way because then they say about how they're being raptured, you know, like how Kim Kardashian like goes up, like how they say she goes up ass first at first.
That's right. So I'll read through this pretty quick because I kind of like went a little, because this is what I read, like basically the last 60% of the book last night.
Oh, okay.
So I was like,
you're like 2.5 hours in too.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go through all this quick because I have a lot. So not a lot, but it just kind of describes things in good. So I'll go through. If you want to mention something, just tell me. I just have notes. So breakfast with Tom Hanks, a discussion with Steven Spielberg, beautiful moments. Kanye tried to give the aliens the star baby, but they ignored him and he starts to cry. The aliens send a signal/video to all devices on Earth, discussing how Earth is their favorite show, but now they're here to take the humans home. Just give into the light and let the ships take you. I put Kim is down. Kim is the first human to be taken up by the fucking
raptured.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Humans all over begin to give in. Jim gives in, and is in the moment as he's been brought up to the ship raptured, he hears Volver by Linda Ronstadt. Nick Cage and others pull him back down to earth before he is gone. Jim wakes to Linda Ronstadt in a room. Jim heals over a weeks and is watching TV during these amount of weeks and watching the news and seeing the world falling into disarray and Armageddon. Eventually he comes to and he sees Nick Cage and everyone and is asked if he is willing to fight with them. There's a moment here that I wanted to mention. And I have it written down. This is all from the book. I ain't afraid, said Cage. I've lived and died 1,000 times. That's what you tell yourself, said Carrey. I think the death fears just so strong. The ego does anything to block it out. We hide in grandiose stories, superheroes, godmen. Fame is a mind plague. We thought it'd make us immortal as it ate up our precious time. That's a beautiful moment and thing right there that just talks about fame and relevance and stuff like that being part of the ego and how it's literally just a fucking disease that just takes up our time.
I don't have that written down, but I remember that. I do like that part a lot. Yeah. It's true. It's like, yeah. It's like it's like what we've been talking about. I feel like a good portion of this, it's like, we all have this grandiose vision in our head of what we should be, or like for famous people, I bet, you know, especially when you're on that level, like you're so inflated by that, you know, it's like, and it's all for what, you know, it's like this like chase for nothing, you know, for
how many
something
times
that's not going to make you full, you know.
How many times do you, in moments of your life, like compare your life to movies you've seen?
Dude, all the time.
All the
fucking time.
All the time.
Sometimes I think that, like, a good portion of the way I think situations should go when I envision them, and they never go the way I think they should, is because I'm always envisioning what I see in movies.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never envisioning the actuality of it,
That's
you
so
know?
true.
And that's why I was talking to Frankie about this. That's why when you see a movie that has a scene that's really close to reality, like, I don't know if you've seen Revolutionary Road with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet.
No.
You know, from Titanic? It's another one. Dude,
well, with both of them?
Yeah, they're married, but it's about their marriage and how it's falling apart. But, dude, it is like, honestly, I've never watched it again because it was too fucking realistic to watch.
What?
Like, it was just very uncomfortable. And that's what me and Frankie were talking about. Like, when you see something, you don't see very many movies don't do it. But when you see movies like that have things that are super close to reality in the way they're portrayed, they're always uncomfortable to watch because it's like, we're so used to this. We're so used to the fight that you normally see in a movie, the relationship fight. Yeah. But when you see a real relationship fight being portrayed, like in Revolutionary Road, like the fights they get in are so fucking realistic. Or like in like Wolf of Wall Street, when he's coked out at the end and he punches her in the stomach and it gets super wild. Like, it's so uncomfortable. And I haven't punched Frankie in the stomach, but you know what I mean? Like, but you know when like,
speak for yourself.
When you get so crazy to that point, like, it's hard to see it reflected, and most people don't want to see that. And it's funny though, like, you don't see it often. I forgot how we even got talking about.
You know what's the extreme version of that though? Have you ever
like
accidentally recorded, like on your phone, like a video or a voice message, and heard you be super drunk and wild and fucking crazy, or like heard an argument between you and Frankie or whatever?
No, but I've seen texts like that I sent Frankie when I'm fucked up, like mad at her, and I'm
Bro,
like,
I've seen videos. I
about?
Accidentally recorded videos of me and Monica drunk as fuck, blabbering, arguing, and I could barely get through a few seconds of it because it's just like so, just gross. A shove in your face, realistic, disgusting moment, and it's just like, oh god.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because it's true. Like, all of our, like, my whole perception of life, I feel like is like, I always, when I envision a situation, I envision it the way I saw it in a movie or the way it was portrayed on TV, never the way it normally is. And like, even bad moments, when I think about bad moments in my life, they feel like movies, but I know when they're in them, like, they're like those uncomfortable. Yeah. And that's why when you see it on screen, like, most people don't do that because it's a lot to take in when you see it. Like, dude, you should watch Revolutionary Road. Like, it's a lot to take in when you see it because it's not even like super bad, but it's just so realistic that it's like fucking hard to watch. It's depressing.
I think we grew up in a weird time where it was around the time where movies became very, very readily accessible and media became very, very readily accessible, but also a time where, as much as they were becoming readily accessible, they were also fading away. So like the younger generation is more consumed with, you know, internet type shit and clickbait, and they have their own demons and stuff. And the generation before us was more grounded in reality and the now and just like hard work and whatever type of struggle, bullshit, actual humanity in the now. And I think our generation has kind of got into this facade, and people like us got in this facade of just comparing ourselves to these movies because that's what we did. That's all we had. We didn't have videos and podcasts and all these things. And, you know, we had mostly what we got enthralled in is media and TV. And I learned like even, I think J. Cole says something about a line about how he learned from he grew up watching Uncle Phil or some shit like that. You know, it's a very, very underappreciated concept of people our age and how much media has truly fucking warped our ego and ideas of ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I bet.
The book talks a lot about it.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about that. Yeah. You don't even know the full effects, you know, of all, you know. It's
and crazy. That's why Truman Show is such a fucking crazy fucking movie and so ahead of its time.
Watch it now, dude.
Yeah, I can't fucking wait. Yeah. I can't wait. So this is basically the last few lines of the book. I kind of summarized it really quickly. So we'll go into it, and then we'll be basically done here soon. Jim says yes, as far as like, does he want to fight? And they gear up and prepare for battle. They fight. This is when Nicolas Cage is really shining. He's immune. He's immune to the like laser rays that they shoot. But then eventually, once they think that they've actually defeated the aliens, they look and they see even bigger aliens and with a different type of aura and glow to them, who have bigger guns that Nicolas Cage is not immune to. So I think at this point, Nicolas Cage and Jim are the only people alive, and they're running away. And eventually Nicolas Cage is killed. Jim is the only one alive. He is the last person on Earth alive at this moment. He knows it. He escapes on John Travolta's dinghy that he finds at, I believe, one of the marinas right there by LA. A very tiny little thing. Very reminiscent of Truman Show. Exactly like fucking Truman Show at the end of it.
Yeah, it is.
He's alone at sea. He's thirsty. He's fucking going crazy. He doesn't know what's real and what's not. This is one of the fucking most beautiful fucking moment. I just like most just uncomfortable too scenes in the just parts of the whole book. It made me feel very, very alone and just kind of like really got me in touch with how alone everyone truly is in a way when they die. I remember you saying, and it always stuck with me, that you heard or whatever once that everyone dies alone no matter what. And I've always thought about when you said that. Yeah. And that's what this is. He's dying alone.
Yeah, it's like even if you died right next to your loved one, you're still going through it alone. Nobody goes through that with you, you know? It's pretty crazy.
So that's I always think about that you said that. And I think that this is an amazing moment, a descriptive moment about him dying. And I think that in my opinion, what this ending symbolizes is that it's basically like a lucid dream. And just like life is, and you eventually go to sleep and you wake up and you go to sleep and you wake up. And maybe that's what I was fucking with the other day. Maybe that was just a confused subconscious idea that I didn't understand. And that's why I was so fucking consumed with.
Dude, yeah. It's like because I took at the end of the book too. It's like it could be like you said, like this big lucid dream, or, which it still can be, but it's like the death of this character, Jim Carrey, that's like, because that's what it is, like, it's finally
could be the story of an ego death.
Everybody's gone and he's finally completely alone and his ego's dying. Yeah, which makes sense because now there's nobody to feed it because everybody's dead, at least in this story, But
maybe there's that metaphor that tells him that you can never kill the ego. That's the part that
is true. That is true.
Maybe it's that's like, just saying you can't kill it.
Yeah, this isn't over. Yeah.
Damn, this is a good podcast, bro. This is one of the best ones. This is so much fun.
We should play that. Did you watch that little speech thing you did? The little 20-second. I put it in here, I think.
Did I? I watched one of the ones you sent me. I had the one you sent me. This one. The speech at the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
I'll play it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Let me do this. So we should press play at the same time.
Oh yeah, I forgot that we can't do that. Yeah. 3. Oh, wait, are we doing on 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3 go?
We'll just do it on 1, 2, 3, and then at go we press play. Hold on real quick. Let me make sure everything's looking good here. What the hell? This little motherfucker. My cat. All right, sorry. All right, boom, boom, boom. All right, I'm at the very beginning.
All right. 1,
2.
All right, yeah,
go ahead. You go ahead.
1, 2, 3, go.
From the upcoming film True Crimes, please welcome two-time Golden Globe winner, Jim Carrey.
Thank you. I am two-time Golden Globe winner, Jim Carrey. When I go to sleep at night, I'm not just a guy going to sleep. I'm two-time Golden Globe winner, Jim Carrey, going to get some well-needed shut-eye. And when I dream, I don't just dream any old dream. No, sir. I dream about being three-time Golden Globe winning actor Jim Carrey. Because then I would be enough. it would finally be true. And I could stop this terrible search for what I know ultimately won't fulfill me. But these are important, these awards. I don't want you to think that just because if you blew up our solar system alone, you wouldn't be able to find us or any of human history with the naked eye. But from our perspective, this is huge. One more time, here are the nominees for Best Motion Picture Comedy.
That's funny.
The Big Short.
Dude, I just love it, you know? Like, because, you know, that's exactly...
Yeah.
I feel like he's been dealing with this question for a long time now, you know?
It's true.
Which is cool, like, you know?
Maybe doing Truman Show fucked with him. And this is not a psychedelic thing. Maybe it's just a fucking actor thing and a regular, you know?
Hey, I could see, especially if you were just blowing up and then Truman Shows the movie you did, I could see that fucking with
man.
you. You know?
Yeah, fuck yeah. It fucked with me and I'm telling you, it was a real thing, bro. For like a lot of years of my life, I legitimately thought like that.
I think I remember you used to tell me this. That's why I've always wanted to watch it, because I think I remember you used to tell me how much you loved it. And
I bet. I love that movie. I watched it over and over,
Yeah, no, it's a great movie.
Yeah. I used to literally not want to like be naked in front of the mirror. I swear.
Why? You got a nice body, bro.
I was a little 10-year-old. I don't know how nice my body was. Okay, what the hell?
No, that's weird. My bad.
Well, honestly, dude, I'm fucking so glad we got this book. I know it's been a fucking couple weeks, but just, you know, so we say it. So everybody who's listening, we are not dead. We are coming back. It's just I had a big move. I had a lot of times and a lot of things I needed to do. Overall, the book is amazing. I recommend it to everybody. It's I wouldn't say it's hard to read, but it's a lot to read. And, you know, I'd probably see myself reading it at least a couple more times in my lifetime for sure. So,
it's a good one.
It's a good one. So check it out.
I'd recommend it. Enter the Void next week.
Yes, sir. Enter the Void, a very trippy movie. I've already seen it, I watched like 75% of it on an intense LSD trip, and I'll talk about that in the podcast. But I'm gonna watch it again, probably mostly sober, but we'll see. I don't want to do acid for it because it just lasts too long. If I could like do acid and it just lasts for while I watch the movie, that'd be amazing. But you know, it lasts 6 hours, so it's a little rough.
That's why I'm like, fuck that. Maybe some mushrooms.
Maybe some mushrooms, for sure. Yeah. So thank you guys for watching. Do you have anything else you want to talk about or end on?
Nah. This was good, man.
That was really good, man. We did a long one. This is the longest one.
There's a lot of ideas in there too.
Yeah, for sure, man. So
I'm gonna be thinking about this.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're watching it on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and all that shit. And then if you're listening, be sure to rate the podcast, share it with your friends and family. Join us on Discord. You know, we're not too active on Discord just because there's not many people there, but we will be if you guys talk with us. So
that's true. I do check.
Yeah, I'll be checking a lot too. So just go on there. You guys have any questions or anything? You know, this is just the beginning. These episodes are getting better and better every fucking time we do them. Next week is going to be new because we're doing a movie. We've never done a movie, so I'm very excited. I'm excited. About that. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys next time.
Later, guys.
Hey everybody, thanks again for listening to Mind Control. If you guys are watching on YouTube, please be sure to give us a thumbs up. If you're on Spotify or Apple Music, please be sure to rate us 5 stars, share the podcast with your friends, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.